I had this sense of setback, and I used to feel that I have to give it back and like do it for her as well in the first go itself. Clear and finally, yeah. So when it comes to articleship, I wanted to be the big four in the first this thing. So finally, my real role depends on taking care of now where it will be, and then I'll be placed in a particular role in any of these multiple things we saw now in different finance related or wherever a CA would be a fellow.
Yes, so very warm welcome to CA Rinkal and CA Himanshi, right? The Khatri sisters, as we are going to tag this particular video as, and the heartiest congratulations for both of you becoming a chartered accountant over there, right? So very warm welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yes, right. So the elder sister, who is elder just by 1 year, she has cleared Group 2 in November 23 and Group 2 in the Group 1 in the May 24 exams. And then CA Himanshi has come out with flying colors in the November 24 exams by securing an All India rank 7. Right. So a single digit rank is a dream of many. And if we would just have a quick look at her mark sheet, right? The amazing score, the marks that she has secured for her exams, right? So FR, it is 66, right? So maybe it's the first paper, some pressure building up, maybe. And then AFM, it's 91. Oh my God, that's superb. Audit, it is 86, right? So All India rank 7 and 86 marks in audit. So, thank you for the amazing Guru Dakshina, right? So that's a wonderful job. Then DT, IDT, it is 76. So no, what do you say, discrimination done over there. Same likeliness towards both of these subjects. And IBS, that is the paper 6, which is the outcome of the first 5 subjects. It is 83 marks over there, right? So that's an amazing score, bringing your total to 478 out of 600 and securing an All India rank 7. Okay, right? So it's been that the result came somewhere in the end of December, and today it is 12th of Jan when we are recording this particular session, right? Probably you undergone some number correction, treatment, so that is why we could not catch up before this. But how does success feel? How does that feeling of having the prefix CA, what we study mainly in our professional ethics? I hope both of you, even Wrinkle, you remember about it, right? तो वो feeling कैसा है वो बताओ मुझे.
So chartered accountancy was something that I wanted to pursue since 6th standard. That time I did not have a very good knowledge of what exactly this course entails. Even the fact that it had 3 levels, nothing of that sort. But I just wanted to do this course. And I think after almost a decade, I was able to finally finish this course with such a successful score. And I think the entire journey culminated in a very beautiful result. So it's something that I'm really thankful for, firstly, but also the fact that I was able to achieve it all at first go really makes me happy.
With the rank.
Yeah. And the fact that I was able to make my parents proud, my mentors proud, my teachers proud, it really it gives me a great sense of satisfaction. And the fact that my hard work was paid off so beautifully, I feel really elated to have achieved this score and to have achieved this success.
Okay, right. So when you were in 6th standard, you thought about becoming a chartered accountant, right? So that time you were like 11, 12 years of age, your school bag and tiffin bag and, probably the school uniform and ponytail, that particular look of that Himanshi who was 10, 11 years old would be in front of you. And then if you just look at it 10 years down the line, right, you would be 20 plus right now, 21 or so. And so you see today yourself carrying a laptop bag and giving an interview and, talking about career and, your financial, your independence, financial independence, right? So that's the beauty of the CA course, that you come, like if you clear in the first attempt, and so like you have a very powerful weapon in your hand is what I understand. Okay. Right. So your elder sister, not very elder just by a year, right? So even she being a chartered accountant, and then, sister is somebody with whom you are authorized to fight and have all types of, disagreement with. कि नहीं तूने बोला है तो फिर तो वो करना ही नहीं है, like that type, or, some different type of an equation with them. So having a sister who is a chartered accountant just before you, was it a source of pressure for you, or was it something which was an inspiration for you?
So the fact that as much as my sister wanted to pursue chartered accountancy, even I wanted her to have gotten the degree of chartered accountancy. So when initially she cleared only Group 1, I had this sense of setback, and I used to feel that I have to give it back and like do it for her as well in the first go itself. And he was something that served as a first-hand inspiration and experience for me. Like there were a few mistakes that maybe she had done in her preparation, so she was able to guide me as to don't do this, instead do this. So that was something that served as an inspiration for me. I did not feel a sense of pressure because chartered accountancy was something that I even independently wanted to pursue. So it wasn't a pressure situation, but yeah, definitely a source of inspiration for the fact that she handled it so well, and I have to just do a little bit of corrections, and I'll be able to handle it better. So that's why she was more of an inspiration rather than a pressure for me.
Okay, okay. So did you watch lectures together, because your attempts were due like just 1 year gap in between, and did you share notes, or was it ready made for you? How was it for you?
So for me, both of us did our preparation independently. Both of us bought classes, purchased classes separately, made our notes separately. But in case there was a faculty for any subject that we had taken differently, we would exchange notes, see if there's any incremental study that we could do. For audit, of course, that was not there because both of us took your classes. But for a few classes, we did that. In terms of exchanging ideas, I was a little annoying to her because she'll be randomly sitting, probably scrolling through her phone or something, and I'll just randomly pop a question to her and be like, okay, this particular clause, what does this say? Or let's say I'll just randomly, whichever case study that I remember, I'll be like, oh, a chartered accountant did this. Do you think it's a misconduct? Which clause? Tell it to me. Clause 30, what does it talk about in Caro 2020? So we used to do that so that, it is always there in our mind, even though actively we were not studying. I think that was something that we could have being always with each other, saying that, we could immediately test each other and be alert to whatever we were learning. So I think that kind of helped both of us with our studying in general.
So it built the moisture for the study and preparation also. It give you a test check for your level of preparations also. Okay. Right. So now, Rinkal, coming to you, thank you so much for honoring my word. I said if I am having a discussion with an interview with Himanshi, I requested you, that even if you could join in so that we could, tag the interview as the Khatri sisters, so it's an inspiration for everyone. And so 2 decades of life that you have experienced so far, right? So many more decades to come. But if we could know about your childhood, your foundation, your schooling, yourself as a personality, studious or what, and then foundation, inter, your articleship, how did you choose a particular CA firm, what was your experience, then your CA final, and then the post-qualification journey of the last 1 year. So we'd want the entire autobiography of Rinkal coming in out now. Okay, Rinkal, so over to you.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure for me actually to be here because it somehow flew from I'll be part of an interview someday and be telling about myself. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
My pleasure. So rather the other day when I came to your place, to meet Himanshi, it was like a bonus to you. Oh, even you have a sister who is a chartered accountant, and even she has taken classes from me. So it was like a bonus thing for me. Right. So yeah, over to you.
starting over from studies, I would say from school and all, I think the first time that I ever got a rank or something in my classes would have been fifth standard, I believe. And from there on, I felt this thing, now once you get a rank, there is like no going back. So yeah, we was always working hard towards that only. Okay, at least top three till 10th grade, I have to be there. It didn't happen much in the board exam. The first setback itself was the 10th boards where I just got 87%. So little disheartened that way. And then, hunting for colleges because we're in Bangalore. So yeah, so that is how it was. So fifth standard to 10th standard, it was very different. And then coming to 12th standard, actually, that's the first time where I got to know how the course structure is. That you have to write PPT first, and then we inter and that one. And in fact, the institute which came about to tell that we will be imparting education on CPT, so it's a great time to register. This is the last attempt of the CPT. After that, it's going to convert to foundation, and you have to write theoretical paper, CPT, fine, MCQ, whether you want it or not. You can get through somehow. So in 11th grade itself, I got myself registered, and we kind of had classes. Wasn't that helpful, I would believe, because finally I just took like a crash this thing at the end of 12th standard before your results come, so that I can just prepare for CPT. It's not like you have to there are any new subject. Maybe apart from law, there was nothing very new to understand. So yeah, I cracked through that in the first go. It was the last go, and that was the thing that if it is MCQs, better be isme nikal jao type. So I just got 108, managed to get through that. And yeah, after that, I got to know about this course in Christ University where it's called BCom SME. It's integrated where they totally help you get through your entire CA curriculum. So I remember first day, me and my mom, when we heard about this course, we went back to check with the teachers over there. Does it really function? Because outside in the world, people are like, if you're in Christ, they may not allow you to get into articleship, because once because my enrolling in the college directly due to the CPT result in my hand. So the moment I got into college, within the first 2 months, I just got my CPT results. Followed by that, the whole routine was such that 6:30 in the morning, attend class, and it'll get over by 12 o'clock. And then from there on, 12:30 onwards, inter ka the thing would start where basically the teachers would come and then they would start with that syllabus, and that would go on to 6, 7, 8 in the evening till whenever it has to go. So it basically felt like I'm a paying guest in my own house because I would come only by, so again, that I thought if I leave at 8 o'clock from college and, waste time to come here, I don't know what even happened in the entire day. It's better to revise. So I would sit in the library with a couple of my friends and finish that. So thankfully, the library was open until we want to sit kind of a thing. And by 8:30, 8:45, I would leave from home. And by the time I reach home, it would be 9:15 odd. And then have dinner and sleep. And the next morning again, 4:45, get up, wake up, then catching buses, going to college, the same thing again. So my entire first year of college, where people say, "Okay, college life is going to be something that we're going to have fun, be part of fest, do all those things, interact with." For me, my entire family was a set of 45 odd students who used to sit in the same class from 6:30 in the morning to 6:30 in the evening. We used to take a lot of breaks. We were allowed to eat in class. It's important that your brain functions, so your stomach has to be full, so no restrictions on that. So, the teachers are also very friendly, actually. If they look at our faces where we started a new concept and they look at our faces that nahi ja raha hai, maybe we should give them a break because they totally understand what we are flowing through. The best part of having integrated course where the teachers are coming down, like you don't even have to change the classroom, you just change a little floor and you'll be on the floor. So they totally understand what you're going through. So their expectation is not that you pick up everything in the first go. So very nice teachers we had. Bhagwati Education, the in-house education system, which helped us clear our inters. And so, yeah, right in college, started off with inter. And on the last day of inter, that today the syllabus is over from the teacher's end, was the day Karnataka announced the lockdown. So it was like, now what's going to happen now? So throughout COVID, there was so my original inter attempt was supposed to be May 2020. And it just went on as we don't know when is this attempt going to happen. So while the whole world in COVID is scrolling through phones, doing all the new trends, the Dalgona coffee, the whatnot and everything.
True,
I had to
true.
check first, what is the notification now? When is the exam? Is it postponed? Are we really doing this? What is happening? And when whole house is in the house and you have to study and you're the only one studying, how that feels and how you go through that, I feel like I don't know how did I manage to pass through that phase where everybody has things to do, fun to do, and you are here waiting for when will the exam happen. So finally, May 2020 exam got clubbed with November 2020 exam, and I did not feel that confident that time, so I opted out and wrote in Jan 21 attempt, which is like
वो जितना मिलता है कम ही लगता है और थोड़ा that type. Yeah.
that happened. Finally, I wrote in Jan 21 and did everything in one go. So I think that clearing thing because of the that,
Yeah.
the fact that I got to quite a long time.
You got
Like,
quite a lot of. So March 20, you finished your classes and everything, and Jan 21, you had to write down your exams. And that part which you mentioned, where 6 o'clock in the morning to 6:30 or 8 o'clock in the evening, I think that is the churning process of the beginning. Foundation is like a trailer. This churning is where you get into the integrities of the CA course, of the hard work, the consistency which is required, and where certainly you miss out on your fun part of the college days, right? So then you wrote your exams in Jan 21 further.
yeah. And then it happened to be such that, the access to take off the big four and seemed to be full because, in one new attempt itself, like
Your audio is not quite audible, actually, Rinkal.
is it because of the dog?
Yeah, I could hear a slight bark, but not much.
Yeah. Now, how about now?
Yeah, better.
So Jan 21.
Huh.
Yes, I wrote that, and then that got cleared. And finally, yeah. So when it comes to articleship, I wanted to be in the big four in the first this thing. And then somehow it just ended up with just being video. That was the only option left because it looked like articles. Because for one whole year, exam didn't happen, people didn't get articles. And finally, in November, ke baad, a lot of people just got in. So the Jan midterm test was just 2 3 months after November attempt. So for that, it looked like vacancies are not really available, sort of a thing. Otherwise, right say whoever goes, it has to be a big four. And yeah, then I was in video. Finally, it
So
was
how
like,
do you get into? How did you approach like the firm? How did you get the interview call? And then how were your interviews like? So please tell us about that.
yeah. So actually, I feel like it was quite a simple process for this particular firm. I felt like I did apply to Deloitte and all of that, but I remember not getting calls at all actually. So I was like, okay, now what's the next thing? So I feel like I kind of settled in for just video. So that was a simple interview process actually. It
So
was
you wrote what do you say? You sent your application letter with a CV on email. Like how was it?
yeah.
How
So
did
it
you
was just
approach them?
yeah. So, like, I kind of like, from university, generally you basically get access to the HR mail IDs and everything, right? So it became easy that way. And I also had a senior back from college who was actually working over there. So that video specifically was a reference for me. So I sent in my CV to him. So he said that he will give it to the distinct managers. And then it flew smoothly. So two of my friends, like from the same class, two of us were actually in video. And it was from the same person's referral that we were able to get in. So
Okay.
yeah, that's how I got in. And the rounds were very simple. One manager round where basic about whatever you have learned till now, just to do a basic check sort of a thing to see your confidence. And a small HR round where they'll just set in the expectations, to understand from you how's your life background, what's happening, that you'll have to have the semester exams or whatever. So just to have an interaction sort of a thing, it was like that. It wasn't interview. I will come to the place where I felt like a real interview of my life. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, so that was there, and then I got in video, and over there I mostly had my hands-on experience on listed entities, two
Which
startups,
audit? Which field? Which department in video?
statutory audit only.
Statutory audit. Oh, so all auditing standards put to practice.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it should be that way. Yeah. So that was there. So yeah, that went on, and so simultaneously that time I was in the second year of my college, and third year was still there. So how it was in college was like they'll give you an exemption from 10 o'clock, so you can go attend your articleship form, and an articleship form you need to give that form 102 that you're also studying, so you'll be available from so and so time. That was how it functioned. So it was going well, but by the time I came to the end of my college also, and it was going fine, and then I felt like maybe I'm not able to cope up with this thing. Like if I keep going with this kind of a stretch, this thing, maybe I'm not able to complete my classes. And then I thought it's better to switch over. So once I graduated, I basically switched over to a mid-sized firm. So I feel like I've had a taste of both the worlds.
Big firm, big tens also, and the mid-size firm also.
Yes. So the way things function, like first of all, I'm very thankful that I was part of video because when in a comparatively very big firm like that, the whole audit ka learning when it goes, like the whole documentation process is so fixed, like you feel like you're seeing a textbook. how it functions. So 6 steps of audit will be there. Your first, the initial engagement letter signing, engagement letter has to be there. So whatever work papers, in balance sheet, income part, everything will be there. And then the closing, final reporting, whatever you did, the signed financials have to be put over there. And the OPD. So everything flows. So you understand very clearly how audit as a very systematic function has to work. So I felt like that was very systematic over there. So you understand exactly all level wise how things happen, right?
You come
And
to know
then
at what level of things can be done in an organized structure manner when you work with a
yes,
big size firm.
yeah. So the partner review is like you're sitting with the real principal of your school, so you have to have that kind of this thing. And then once the review is over, you finally feel realize that yeah, this audit is over. Now it's just documentation. You're through this kind of a feeling at the end of
So
quarter.
review,
Yes,
documentation, you get to experience all that practically.
yes.
Right.
So that was the good part of it. So later on, when I moved to a mid-sized firm, I had a hands-on experience on stat audit was there, obviously, but for different. Like I had worked with an NBFC, so that time the NBFC itself was a new client for our firm, and from the beginning I was part of it. So right from understanding how the NBFC functions to the revenue streams is different. The whole audit structure changes a little bit when it comes to an NBFC, so that was different, a different industry exposure. And I was also part of internal audits of two IT software-based companies. Again, one of them was again a new client. So right from the beginning, from the client, I got the whole understanding of how every single process functions, and then what samples to take, what data will you require. So we used to sit with the client to understand this is what we need to check. Now you tell us how will you be able to give this data. Then they used to have a whole presentation of how their system functions. Will they really be able to give this data? All that kind of thing. So it was a very in-depth understanding. And over there, I was kind of the only one just reporting to my manager. So you were like, you get in touch with the client, you get things done. At the end of the day, just tell me what you're doing. So, task is given. Now you have to take it out from the client. So, to understand how to discuss with the client, how to get things done. So you used to have a very good understanding. So the client almost said, we feel like now we are a team, you from your end and we from here, because every day we'll give you that 1 or 2 hours of discussion. Okay, this is our process, this is how you, because if they don't explain the process to you, you don't know what to do in internal audit. It was the first time
Yeah.
they were doing internal audit done. So I had a hands-on experience from that. And then towards the end of my articleship, like I was also part of manufacturing clients. So, flew to their places to understand how exactly a factory functions. How is the manufacturing of this particular product done? So what all controls can you find over there? So partners would come with us, they'll be like, okay, now you've walked through the entire factory. Tell me what you understand. So partners over there are very approachable. They from the way they function, because you are just allowed to sit in front of them in their cabin. They will sometimes be your reporting person, right? So you understand so much from them at a very level. How does a partner function in their lives? They don't have the concept of getting complete rest, or they don't have this thing that my responsibilities or whatever it is. The way they interact with the client, the way they function as a human, having a basic understanding. Because I'm a partner, I need to have the knowledge of the whole world, what's going on right now. What are the new things coming up? What are the new compliance today? So how they function in their life. So it's very, when you see them so closely, it's like without saying, without them teaching you something, you understand so many things about, how to be very skeptical, and you get that thing, right? You pick up that quality. So I feel like being a message from directly in hand when you report to them, they'll directly tell you, see, Rinkal, this is how the thing is. Maybe you should interact with the client like this. If they don't tell you, you will get in touch with me. I'll get this thing done. So it was very nice in that fashion. And towards the end, I also got an experience on how to do an entire RCM preparation. So the client got us through the whole process, whatever they have. So whatever the different processes are there in an IT company, payables or the banking part of it, whatever. So everything came in the thing that they were explaining, and we had to put it in a RCM fashion and show it to them, and then again do the audit part of it also. So that was also a very good experience where I flew to their place, understood how their factory functions, what are their products, all of that also. So that was also a very good experience being over there. Yeah, and the whole besides from comparatively lesser people, so everybody knows you, everybody knows what's exactly happening in your life. So that kind of an interaction and that thing, it feels very nice. And especially now that you know how both worlds function, sometimes you can recommend your partner. When I was in that firm, I felt like things were happening in this fashion. Like why don't we implement something of that sort? So things will streamline, maybe something of that sort. Yeah. So all of
Cross
that was
pollination could be done like.
yes, yes, because my partner particularly who was there, he was right from the beginning of his articleship, he was working in the same firm, and today he's a partner in the same firm. So otherwise, some people do this, they go out, they understand how other firms are functioning, can pick up things from there, and that is how they feel like they can do a better job because they're in a very good position now, to implement things, whatever they feel are right. So that was there, and by the time my study leave started, finally I got like 5 months of study leave to write both groups. And by that time, the target was definitely that, at least finish watching your classes, have your notes ready. So 5 months is 5 months of only revising.
Study,
That's what
correct.
so I felt like that approach was good. And yeah, so that is how it went on. And finally, I wrote both groups together in November 23. But I managed to clear group two first. So, I mean, right from paper one, FR, I could feel the shocker that ICI just said that, okay, this is the last time you're doing it. And this. So syllabus was completely changing right after November 23 attempt, right? So it directly came as a shocker the way the papers were going. But I felt like the FR was 80% difficult. I felt like the next paper was 60% difficult. The next paper was 50% difficult. I mean, in that sense of difficulty level for me personally, it went on that way. So I feel like, yeah, group two definitely went a little better than group one. So things were a little obvious. But I did not have this thing that, I would not be able to do it at all. It came as a shocker. In fact, she was the one who saw my result that day. She sent me the screenshot. This is the result. And I was sitting in office that day. I really had this thing. Everybody around me, they did not expect that, to see such a kind of failure level. I felt that day that, how, like,
First time in your life you experienced failure in
uh,
CA final. For many, it happens at CA inter. With few, it happens at CA foundation. But for you, first time in life, a failure like knocked your door at CA final. Okay.
that happened. I feel like more than me, it was difficult for my mom to think that in. When I came back home that day, everybody was just quiet. Nobody had the feeling that at least you cleared one group. That was also, they just felt so sad that how sad is she feeling right now. So it was just a very, mum situation at home when I came
Silence
back.
speaks louder, like, that type.
So that was there, but I also had this thing right from that day. Now what? Now, how many days do I have left in Articleship? How many papers are there to prepare? How many days will it require to do this? Now the change syllabus is there. Should I go to that? Should I order the? In fact, that day itself, I had to have my decision. That day I felt it was
So there
between
were no tears coming in?
I no, honestly, it was not very. I was like, now whatever has happened, nothing can change it basically.
Right.
So I was the one who checked the result, and I was the one who checked her results, and I was on the way to my client place at that time. So I was sitting in the cab. I checked the results. I did not expect. No one in the family, in fact, expected that Rinkal would not clear one group. And I reached the client place, and everyone was talking about, oh, the results just came out 10 minutes back. AIR one got this much score and two and all of that. And then I started crying because I
Okay.
was like, huh, so she did not. I did that on her behalf.
चोट लगी तुझको तो दर्द मुझे होए ऐसा.
So I started crying there, and then my manager came and consoled me. He was like, you should, instead of crying, you should kind of be her support and tell her that, okay, it's not both the groups, at least one group you have cleared. And that itself is an achievement in itself with such a difficult course that chartered accountancy is. So, yeah, so for me, I was kind of there for her, but I also feel that her result kind of made me stronger in terms of how to combat it because I felt that this is my personal thing and I could not see her be that way. So yeah, that was a little fiction. You can continue.
Okay. Okay, so then you prepared for your May 24, the group one.
Yes.
You have to talk about audit, because audit is a villain for, it's a known open secret that audit is a villain. So,
Yeah. See, like I used to hear a lot of my friends, like when we are generally discussing about, how preparation works. Okay, so I feel like, uh, now am I audible?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like generally people have this thing, like whoever is writing CA out there in the world, a lot of my friends, because now I'm connected to say 100 plus started accounts with my friends, her friends, because we were there in that course, and all people
Big
around me.
fraternity. Yeah, yeah.
So it felt like everybody has this thing for audit. Like as you rightly said, it has become a theory, but now it's but I
तो कितना रुलाया
yeah,
ऑडिट में ऐसे बताओ हमको.
no, I was actually saying that we did not have, rivalry with the theory subject at all. In fact, I feel
Okay.
like, in the beginning in Inter itself, and it was introduced, like EISSM will be one thing, and audit will be another thing where people are failing Inter because of audit. that day I had decided to have to get an exemption in audit, whatever happens. So I proved myself an inter back then. So then I had this friendship with the subject, I would say, कि ठीक है, if you
You had
decide,
already made friendship with the
yes,
subject at Inter only.
yes,
Okay.
yes. So I felt like getting, and in fact, exemption meaning I exactly got 61 in inter, I believe, in audit.
Good.
So I was like, we can do this. If it happens, that, and because as a subject, whatever is newly being introduced, it's inter level, so it is done. When it comes to finance, it's just an advanced level of whatever has to be built on that, correct? So I felt like audit here, okay, there are a lot of things to remember. So I did have my short notes every time. Like as you said, the moment you write an essay name properly with the correct exact, the phrase of the essay, then that itself is a score. So I ensured that heading wise, I should remember everything. So I would have a notebook where I'm writing every name wise because I have written it once. I know that it will get engraved better in my brain. So whether it is an essay heading or all the other headings, just ensure that the top of it definitely has to look correct. And especially the clauses also, one entire notebook where I have only written because I need to remember, I have to write it down. I had this thing. So write the names of the clauses because whatever happens, whether I write something else inside that proper or not, the clause name and the clause number should exactly be correct. So I had the exact notes, just written heading wise. So in my entire day, after I finish revising audit before meeting, I'll ensure that I look at my whole handwritten chart of what exactly each clause is and what it means. So it is important because that's the thing which is going to give you some major score over there. It is important that you make the person who's correcting feel that you know it. The moment you write the first sentence correct, I felt that. So as
Okay,
you
so
explained,
first sentence mentioning the standard, mentioning the clauses is something that you
correct.
worked upon. You
Yes,
prepared handwritten notes, you revised it every day.
yes.
Okay.
So that was always there, and like how you would tell in class, also, remember things with acronyms. I had that from the beginning of it because even in AISSM previously in Inter, I had to think the heading, the first, like, when you write a heading and then you write something in it, right? So heading wise, absolutely it has to be correct. I had this thing always. So when you also used to give that acronym, if you remember, I've been having a habit back in audit and Inter, AIS and Inter also that you have an acronym for things so that it's easier to remember and then you can come in the flow of it. So quite a lot of places I would able to remember. Otherwise, I would have my own acronyms also because now it is too much clammed up that too many acronyms. So I would have my own set also, and then I would revise and ensure that all questions are done also, so that nothing looks very this thing. As you do a lot of questions, by the end of it, it is engraved in your brain. Now you see any question, whether you've done the exact question or not, because now you know the concept after revising so many, you can do. So it was that fashion. So I understood the whole paper pattern. See, 40, if this much marks is MCQs, then MCQs should be definitely a scoring mistake. But I feel like I was very good at audit MCQs. It is a plus point back in inter, back in science also because I can remember exactly. Sometimes we see that the MCQ options are so confusing among themselves. But because I've read the textbook language, I know this word is only going to come in this answer. So I know it is correct. So I felt like it's a good thing that I had a strong this thing in MCQs. And now, like in audit, in inter, it used to be keeping MCQs and the true or false part used to be there for the first 14 months.
Correct,
This
incorrect.
process, people not pass this much is there, this much is there. इसमें तो हो ही जाना चाहिए. So I used to always break down the paper in 100 है तो हमको 100 तो लाना नहीं है ना. So that was it. What will happen max to max? You need to remember how much ever, and then you need to write. So it flew well. I feel like I did not have that rivalry with audit because I was able to do it back in Inter, and then it is a step up in this one. But you still have institutes here, manage it with that part of it, and write things correctly in clauses. So you collect marks, let's say. It's not like you go from 100 or you see from the scratch, you need these many marks. So how will you do it? That was the approach for audit.
And what about the other chapters? Like this, you talked about standard ethics, but what about bank audit, NBFC, PSU, internal audit? How about those?
That I felt like, remembering what is the correct question, what is the correct answer for that. Like that kind of a flow has to flow. So whenever I studied, it never went like, concept book and reading. No, it is always like, if this is the question, this is the answer, sort of a thing. Yeah. And I've also had experience on internal audit, so it was fine. And banking, I kind of have an idea because work done in NBFC again. So I knew advanced को कैसे audit करेंगे, how will it be for other things, like that. So that was, and I have a thing. If you get 30 subject is also fine with me. You need to learn and you need to remember. You need to revise a lot of times. You need to remember. So I had this. It is fine for me. So
audit revisions is also very important, right? Okay. And how about the book? Like, our audit book, like if you've taken classes from me. So the audit book, do you find it like, oh my God, so many pages. She's written like module 1, module 2, question bank, like, or you want like, yeah, 250 pages ka book de do, ye itna kya hai? So what do you say?
The fashion in which the book has been made is actually very helpful because you first finish your concept, then you finish your question and answers, and because it is given in a question and answer fashion, because at the end of the day, if you don't write the correct answer to the correct question, that itself is the mistake, right? So I feel like the way it's put was actually very good. Like, instead of having a notebook just full of questions and answers and you don't know what is this going, if you want to check where it came from, again, flip another 100 pages, 500 pages, then you will get the answer. So I feel like this manner of keeping it, that was actually quite helpful. The moment you have one doubt, just flip 4 pages, you just see the concept is written over there only. So it becomes easier that way. And because all the question bank itself was together right after existing and revising it in just the question answer format in the second or third revision, it makes things easier because now you know what is the answer. You can cover up.
Yeah, so when you're studying for the first time, you may not look at the question bank if you wish to. And then you can travel two ways, theory to question bank to theory. Like I know in the book, there is this essay 570 going concern where almost in every exam they ask a question. There are some 17, 18 questions. And clause 6, part 1 first schedule is very popular, because there are like 29 questions which are there in the latest third edition of the book for that. So if you just move on those pages, it gives you a satisfaction कि चलो ये 6 pages तो भी question bank ही है तो.
That is that fashion. So, especially like
We are losing you on your voice, Wrinkle.
yeah, now am I audible?
Yeah, yes.
So doing it in that key concept, and you see, how many pages are over now. That also gives you satisfaction. So that is aptly said. That is what happens with us, mentally finish these many pages.
Okay. So I think probably you'll say, now I don't want to remember anything about study, but Sunday morning I've been told to give an interview and that to talk about audit. So I understand what a painful task you are doing. But then tell us, did you refer to the institute study material?
For yeah, I mean the newer part actually when the syllabus changed from my November 23 to May 24. So whatever the new part was it, I did complete that from the study material.
Study material you covered. Okay. And did you do writing practice? Because in my classes I emphasize a lot कि बच्चा मतलब जो आता है वो एग्जामिनर को समझना चाहिए कि तुम्हें आता है और उसके लिए राइटिंग बहुत जरूरी है. So कैसे मतलब राइटिंग का चैलेंज आपने कैसे एड्रेस किया?
I feel like I comparatively would have not done justice to the way he would have told me, but I did it. I did the writing practice wise, like question paper fashion. So like if I take an MCP and write the whole answer, then I will write the whole thing itself. So people, if you just see the question, you glance it and you know what the answer is, you just leave it. That's not going to work. So when you write, I feel like when I compare it to the attempt before that and when I wrote it the second time, I ensured that I write more. Like how you said, you do make it experienced it, that passion, PPK. You did not write much that time. It's better to do it now. So I feel like question and answer passion, not like, like seeing in the question bank how the question flows, not like the same chapter that was, but in a question and answer passion of how question paper looks, like an MTP or an RTP, how it looks, or a previous question paper, how it looks. If I start writing, write the whole thing exactly how you look, and then I realized a lot of my mistakes. Like, you suddenly go blank when you have to write something, you're like, okay, what is the next sentence? How do you start this? So it goes in that fashion, then you realize that you better write more paper. So then I used to write and I have marked in my own red ink, corrected. Okay, so in my final revision, all my written papers, what I have written answers to the papers, that became an important thing. If you may find this difficult later on because you did not write it in the fashion how it was expected because you checked with an answer key, right? And when you have corrected your own answers, you put it in red ink, whatever you made a mistake. In the final revision, that helps you. Red ink, these are the questions, these are the concepts where you need to ensure you have a structured answer and this is what the expected answer was and not what you wrote. So revising the mistake was my final revision part of it. You revise your mistake. You have written.
So had you not done the writing practice, had you not had those red markings, you would have done all that blunder in the exam.
Correct.
Understand?
That's
And
correct.
when you read a particular answer, say in 10 minutes, you could read like 2 pages, but example. But in writing, you can write just one paragraph. But it's not only the quantity which matters, it's the learning experience, the quality. So you can't be greedy about like, oh, let me learn more, let me read more. No, whatever you know, that you put it in a structured format. I think like what you said is very a very good learning experience for the students who are listening to us right now, that you wrote, you did the markings in red, then whatever, when you're studying next time, you put attention to those, and then you realize that you're going blank, like not remembering. So yeah, this cannot be taught anywhere. This is an experience where it has to be your own SWOT analysis type of a situation in terms of time management and all. Okay, right? So finally, ये सारा लड़ाई करके May 24 में you wrote your exams. Then now tell us about the result. Now you had tears of joy, Himanshi.
Yeah, so July 11th is when the results came out. And again, it's been a constant history of my life that I've never seen my own results. It just happens that I end up not seeing my results. CBT, my results were seen by my father's friend, in fact. And
Okay.
inter, I was attending the GMCS class, which was online. My sister had to check it. I was so new that the result, somebody was not allowing anybody to leave the meeting. So I was like, what did I do? All of us have to keep a video on. How do I check my results out there? She was sitting at home. She checked my result. And the last time when group November 23 results came out, I was actually on the scooter. I was reaching to my client place. I didn't see. The first thing I saw is she sent me a screenshot. Result not seen by me. Finally, when it came to the May 24 attempt also, the internet was not working only in my laptop. A friend of mine, I asked him to check, immediately he sent me a screenshot. And the 3 seconds where the screenshot was loading, what is going to be, because when my friend has sent it to me, he did not even bother to write a congratulations, we have cleared, he's able to see my result. So then 3 seconds, 5 seconds where I waited for that screenshot to load on July 7th, I was like, what is going to happen? Finally, I cleared it. My mom's excitement on top of the world. It was a holiday. I was sitting at home, and oh my god, the number of calls, the messages, the whole world. It feels like the whole world knows now that I'm a chartered accountant. And the amount of calls and everything, my mom's the feeling was overwhelming. More than me, she felt like she has achieved the thing now. So yeah, in my house, my parents, grandparents have been very supportive because wow, बच्चे education field में वो भी CA के, because at least CA they know क्या है. If you tell probably an engineer wise in our family, they may feel like what exactly is an engineer doing. But CA, they know what is the value and this one. So they were really happy and proud. Finally we've got a chance. Because in our family, it's always been like, being in business and this one, there are dropouts, there are people who are not even bothered to finish till 10th grade. But when I got my degree certificate in my hand, just after inter, it was like, wow, we have the most educated person in our family right now. And then when it
Wow.
came to CA, it was something, beyond the thing people would have not expected. And at a young age, that plays a very important thing. So I had this thing, ki TK 21 tak, but I'm lucky that TK is not at 21 at 22 because it did come a few months before my birthday. I was happy that at 22 I'm a chartered accountant. At least that fit in the now. So yeah, so that is why I had this thing, ki TK, if not in November, in May, until 22, I can do it. That was there, so I felt happy about that part. It was a great day to remember. So
Okay,
that's
right. Mm-hmm. So at 22, you became a chartered accountant. Okay, so then after that, you would have had some remaining part of your journey of articleship in the mid-sized firm.
yes, it was just about 30 odd days or something.
Oh, 30 odd days, right? So then you completed that. Then up kya? Now you've had the experience of working in a Big Ten and then after that working in a mid-sized firm. Then what next did you think about? Talking to
Yeah,
you,
so
I think you can be a wonderful teacher also, actually. So, yeah,
so,
but
so
you tell me what happened next. What is your आजकल का क्या हाल है? Like, what are you doing right now?
So campus placement went on, and that was the time where you really feel like ये तो बन गए now. The main part is to get the job. That actually felt like the thing. Like the markets are such that despite being a qualified person, you have to knock so many doors to get interviews like off campus and all that. It was like, wait, what's happening, kind of a thing. So I did try to get information, YouTube, what people are doing, how do they give interviews. Then I heard a lot of places that, when you become a CA, that is the beginning of a journey, not the end of a journey, actually.
Correct.
Exactly. So I really felt that while job hunting process, mein, because especially with the off-campus part of it, because the campus interviews are lined up, for the month of September and all. I felt like that's really a long way. What should I do at home? But the period of being at home for the next 2 months, I was like, this is the time what I wanted in my life. Because right from CPD, I've never seen how does it feel to continuously be at home even for a week, for that matter. So then finally, when it came to 2 months of unemployment, it was a good period of my life right there.
CA qualified, 2 months of unemployment. Okay.
Yes.
No,
So
had you
yeah,
continued with your mid-sized firm, that period would not have come. But because you made up your
yes,
mind that you want to go
yes.
for the job, that is why it was a voluntary choice. Right.
That's true. And very important actually. And my mom has always been telling, never had any kind of quick thought. It's okay now, you just be at home, that's fine. Anyway, it's not like you're being home for no reason. It's important to have this kind of a break after so much of serious job. Like, yeah. So that was there, and then I got into Titan through campus placement. It was actually the best lined offer for me actually. So I felt like I cracked a good thing out of all the offers in hand that time which I had. Off campus I had an offer, and on campus, you're allowed to give 4 interviews, and they give you the whole what's the breakup of. I mean, each CTC, each the job role. I felt like I aimed at the right point, and I just got it done. So I was
So, how
very
much 4 interviews did you give?
I actually, it was like there was one interview lined up on the first day of, basically I did not, there is a premium day, then there is a first day of campus placement, second day, third day. So for me, I did not have shortlisting from anything on the premium day, but on the first day, which it happens to be, Titan was my first and last interview.
Oh, Titan
When
was
you
your
were,
first and last. Okay. So,
I'll
you're a
tell you what,
regular employee. You're
yes.
having a wonderful tag. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it was there, and that was in fact the time. Like so I just had an off-campus interview before that, and I also got the offer letter in hand. But I was waiting for on-campus, which I clearly communicated to them that my first preference is going to be something on-campus. So let me get through that, and then you'll probably be a second option. I told them very clearly. They were fine with that, and interviews on that actually went quite good. So it was just one level at deputy manager's level. She took my interview. She was quite impressed, and it was directly with the CFO who really felt like I want you in my company sort of a feeling I felt. So I was like, wow, I'm good at doing this. Because video, it was online interviews, it was hardly anything I told you. It was just a basic, how do I talk sort of a thing, and that was the end of it. But how does an interview really feel when you travel to a person's place, you sit in their office, you directly interact with them, they open your resume in front of them, and they ask you questions about your experience? I felt like that was the real life interview which I had, which I managed to get through in my first go. So I was very happy that I already have an offer in hand before campus placement. And then when campus went through, it was a real difference. So Titan's interview was like 3 panelists, and every panel having 3 more people, and all these people are heads of all various departments in finance. So they took out their time, they came on that Sunday morning. So right from 9 a.m. odd till 7 p.m. when I got to know that I have been hired out of the 25 people who came over there, 4 of us were hired, and I was one of them. And when you watch in a movie or something, the way they come out of the interview hall, and the HR has a sheet in her hand, she's telling out the names. It kept happening like around 2 o'clock. There was one elimination which happened. I think right after lunch, she told that you guys can go home. People went home. And then after the second part of it, where the final panel was left for me, I was part of it, and then finally everything. Then all panels came together. They started discussing whom they want finally, and then the HR comes out with the sheet. She told 4 names, in which my name was there. So I thought that she was going to ask me also to get out now. Turns out these 4 names which are called, you guys stay back. The remaining you can just carry forward. They let you know. And I was like, wow, what just happened?
Wow, it's like
So I was,
when you're saying this, 2 incidents are coming in my mind. One is the Three Idiots movie, wherein they show that interview being taken.
yeah,
You remember that movie? Yeah, yes, that particular movie where the interview is being taken. That your attitude is to, if you could change your attitude or something that type. And second, when there's this Miss Universe or Miss World, Miss India pageant takes place, and then all of them are standing over there, and then they announce that, oh, Sushmita says.
yes, yeah,
So that type,
that
those thoughts are coming.
correct. Yeah, that's what I told you. For real life interview, that is how it goes. And I'm happy that this was the first, because in the morning at 9 o'clock when I walked into that place and I kept the venue, I did not know that I was to go back home as a hired person already. And as I said, my aim out of the 4 companies which shortlisted me, I had this thing at the back of my mind, this looked like the best place, and I think I want to get in here only. and it happened by the
Titan.
day.
Uh-huh.
I was like, wow, done, job done.
Job done.
So
Okay. Right.
that
So you
was
joined in Titan. So now what is your role at Titan?
Yeah, so for the name of it, it's Deputy Manager Finance, but the program is going to be like a management trainee role, is what it's called now. So management trainee, generally what I've seen in other companies, it would be like, in a period of 12 months or odd, they'll give you 3 months in one department. So you learn, you understand, you also deliver whatever the requirement is, and three months you're moving. But the fashion that they have kept it in Titan is like the first 6 months, and this is the first time I believe they're doing. They kept telling us, yeah, the first day interaction with the CFO, they were like, we really want you to take a lot out of this training program because this is the first time we're teaching it this way. So their whole idea is that, they have weekly stints. So first 2 weeks I was in the treasury department. My only job is to understand what every person is doing over there and make notes of whatever I understood. And at the end of 2 weeks, the head of treasury will just have an interaction about what you learned, what you're doing, right? So that way I was concentrate. Then I understood the factory finances for 3 weeks. Then I understood how things are sold on the floor. So I was part of all the item brands or stored whatever things are happening. So right in the front level, how it happens 3 weeks was that. Then it was also an audit team, which is a different kind of an audit which they do in-house, where they will go and audit stores on a supply basis. So there was another team for that. And now I was in the jewelry finance part of it. So it's called divisional finance. So we have about 6 divisions in Titan, which are handling different businesses. So now I'm spread
And
out
what's its
into
businesses, if you could understand the conglomerate part of
yes.
Titan?
Yeah. So Titan is into the main business is jewelry because we get quite. I mean, if you look at the financial, we clearly can distinguish that the merchant.
Tanishq.
Yes. So Tanishq, Mia, and Zoya are the brands under jewelry division. And following that, the next is watches because we've been starting off as a watch company back then.
Fast track and
So
all Raga and all. Okay.
Raga, and then we also have a few international brands under the Helio stores we have. So those are also part of Titan. And following that, we have our eyewear, which is Titan Eye Plus. And then we
Okay.
also have, fashion and accessories, which are comparatively emerging sort of a division, which is about handbags, the earth handbags, and the skin perfumes.
Oh,
So
yes.
yes, these are the part also. And after that, we have an IBD division, which is the International Business Division. So we are spread across a couple of Gulf countries and also the US. So over there, the entire division of IBD is going to handle the whole functioning of whatever kind of stores are there in international. Because if it's a domestic, if it's the jewelry division is going to handle. If it's a watches, the watches division. But when it comes to IBD, even if there is a jewelry store or a watches store outside, you are going to handle the whole thing. IBD is sort of emerging as we're thinking of, growing a presence in the international this thing. So that's how it goes. So these are the main 6 divisions. And
Okay.
there are divisional finance teams which are sitting separately. There's central finance, and our stints are also going to be in the controllership department for a month or so, and going to be in the internal audit department also for a month. So finally, my real role depends on the internal vacancy as of now, where it will be, and then I'll be placed in a particular role in any of these multiple things which we saw now in different finance related or wherever a CA would be available. So it is going to be.
Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. So you were in a BDO, in a what do you say, in a CA side of the firm, and now you are into the industry side. So you have seen glimpses of both. So what made you think that no, I don't want to continue in the audit side, not being the auditor, but being the auditee, like, being the client side. So how is the work-life balance? So how is it?
So I would say that, in audit, I think I had made up my mind the first few months of articleship that if this is what auditors are doing, I would think, it's my field of interest sort of a thing. Because I kind of like, although I am a chartered accountant today, but FR still gives me a little rivalry kind of a
Like,
feeling.
what do you say? Goosebumps? Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if suddenly someone asks me a journal entry today, maybe I'll get back to the kind of a feeling I have. So I feel like it's not really my sort of a thing. And I felt like apart from also audit, because you have to do the same audit procedures. Maybe the companies will keep changing, but your audit procedures will remain the same and pretty much have to do that. And if you get into any of these big fours, you being a manager, you have to handle the same client for the next until the engagement is over, like 5 year period, whatever it may be, right? So I feel like I will get very bored of that sort of a scenario. I feel like it's not my cup of tea. I cannot find out what went wrong in your balance sheet and how you were supposed to present it, but you did something wrong. I feel like it's not really. But for the internal audit part of it, I would see that today also, if I get into Titan's internal audit department, I'm still okay because I like understanding how an entire process flows and what value add I can do. Maybe you could automate this. Maybe this manual process you can have these more controls in place. I feel like an understanding of a process so that way I do have my interest in that fashion. And even the final internal audit report, whenever we used to draft, I remember there used to be places in my office where if anybody has prepared an internal audit report, it's a PPT fashion. They'll be like, Rinkal, take back cross check and because she will definitely find what wrong thing, what grammatical error or what formatting error we have done in this. If we have not been able
Super.
to bring out something which we wanted to tell, my colleagues would sit next to me and they'll be like, see, this is the process, this is what we have found out, this is the risk, and this is what we need to convey. If you read this, do you think it is conveying it in that fashion? So I'll be like, okay, let
Wow.
me read. So it used to pick up. So I feel like maybe because I'm inherently good at this thing, I used to have one director back in this firm also who used to feel like, you're qualifying, that is fine, but you need to think internally, what do you feel you're internally good, inherently good at? The moment you do something which you're inherently good at, it kind of happens effortlessly and you do justice to your job. Because if you are forcibly put into something you really don't like it, just take it as a task. It doesn't come out naturally, sort of a thing. So then, apart from being an audit person, the other option was to be in industry or consulting. So I felt like, let's try our hands on industry, how it functions. Because before this, in fact, even in the interview when I was asked, they were like, okay, so if this is going to be a management trainee role, if we give you factory finance, is that okay with you? If we give you treasury, I was like, Matt, can you please explain what exactly does the treasury function do in the company? So they were being quite nice. They explained what exactly it's going to be like. And now that I've had hands-on experience, there are CAs working in that department, what they do, now that I've understood, I feel like there's so much in the whole finance to know. And now when we do stints and we talk to different heads of departments, they'll always be like, try to identify where your interest lies. And you're very lucky that you're having this program where you're understanding the whole business, you're understanding wherever a CA is placed in this whole big company. So it's very important for you to start identifying where you feel like your interest lie, because when you just say finance, also there's a whole big world out there also in an industry to find where you'll finally be placed. So I feel like I'm really lucky to have this program where it came, I'm in the right time, the right place kind of a thing. Because just now they introduced this program where you have an understanding of all departments and whole of finance. So I feel like now it's going well. So I'm happy that I'm learning more about what finance in industry. So yeah.
Hmm. Okay. So generally from CA, from the auditor context, we say KOC, knowledge of client. For you, it is knowledge of employer for you, KOE, rather than KOC.
Yes, yes. But I
Your
also think that it's like how we used to do, no, client understanding. They tell about your business, they tell about your process. Every day when I talk to a new person today, like the past 4 months I've been this way. Every day I'm talking to a new person, they have something new to give us and or something to build upon what we already know, but we didn't know the intricacies, how it functions. So it's very new every day, and the first 6 months are going to be full so much learning. My notebook is going to come to a 200 pages finished writing notes or whatever trying to understand from them. So that's been there. So really happy that the CFO came up with such a thing, and then towards the end we'll have a small presentation of what we learned, and hopefully whatever the liking or the department we have in our brain, if I'm placed in that, better nothing better than that.
Oh, that is amazing. So, how is what do you say, a life in your day now as a chartered accountant? Like, from morning to evening, what are you
Yeah.
doing?
So yeah, so our office timings is pretty good actually. It's 8:30 to 5, and just
8:30 to
before
5?
yes.
Seriously? Oh, wow.
So I leave my home about 7:30, 7:45. My cab will pick me, and then by the time we reach office in Electronic City, it'll be 8:30. But very lucky that I'm able to cross a 37 odd kilometer journey within 45 minutes in the morning. It's absolutely good. I mean, I used to have a very similar
A
feeling back in
city like
college.
Bangalore, which is known for
Yes,
traffic. So, I
yes,
had visited one particular academy for taking the fast track and marathon classes in Bangalore. And then they were taking me about in the city in the car. And then I was just, looking here and there. And then all of a sudden they said, ma'am, see here. So I was like, probably they are showing me some particular monument or a spot to see. So I started looking left and right. They're saying, no, ma'am, look in the front, traffic. This is all what we have to show you in Bangalore. So it's like,
yeah.
so it's like, oh, good
Correct,
one.
correct. That is the thing. What Bangalore keeps synonymous, you'll get a traffic sort of thing it has become.
Yeah, and but nowadays I love that tag. The moment I land on Bangalore airport, Namma Bengaluru. So that's a very Bangalore vibe. So I don't know. I personally like that.
The Namma Metro, the Namma Bengaluru, that.
Namma Bengaluru. Did I say
Yeah,
it right?
Namma Metro also, they have that thing also.
Oh, okay. Right. So yeah, 8:30 you reach office. So 37-kilometer distance cover in like 45 minutes. Okay. Then what next?
So yeah, so the feeling is very similar to, morning fresh. Okay, the thing where, like, there's one thing when I used to go to my firm, 10 o'clock I had to reach, and I'm going on a scooter, and it's just 14 kilometers, but it takes that 1 hour compulsory. Being on the scooter in the heat, seeing 100 people around you, traffic jam, everybody's trying to get to office. जाते ही वहां पे first you have to take a half an hour break. What just happened? Very classic. And then when it comes now, like back in college, I used to see the sunrise every morning because 6:30 is close to that time, so very fresh. Although I used to travel in public transport, very freshly I
Very
used to reach,
fresh.
college, and then the way things function used to be like so very similar feeling I get now. Our campus is also very much like my college campus, very big, beautiful green space. In Titan, back in college, it's exactly that way. So the whole feeling of freshness, 8:30 being over there in the morning now because the whole period where I joined is been winter. So the way things look, the freshness that you feel in the morning, people taking their time to settle. So things start around by 9:30 only. 8:30 other people will come, but people come to the office and then have breakfast over there. So it functions like that. And every day there will be someone new to talk to, and every day you introduce yourself. Why you here? What do you want to learn this department? When did you join? All those things. A basic introduction is there every day. I have to explain to
Every day.
somebody in the company who I am, what I'm doing here today, kind of a thing. And from there end, we always have this thing where they're really telling that, you made the best choice. This company is the best place to work to. And, you see people who have been in a lot of departments over a span of 15 years in the company, 17 years in the company, 30 years in the company, and how many departments they have been through. So when you see that kind of thing right in your first company, that, this company looks so good that people are ready to spend their till retirement wala life till from here only. So it feels like you've really joined a really good place because of the way
Honored.
they are giving you the feedback about the company, and also that they are not being stagnant in the same role since the beginning of their life here. So there is this internal mobility policy where they will encourage that, first of all, they hire internally itself. 2 years you're in a department, you're allowed to move to a new department, learn things from the beginning you learned there, from whatever you learned previously, whatever you can incorporate here, that is good. So those kind of things are here. So it's nice, like every day there is a new knowledge transfer. And, being in corporate as a 22-year-old, being around people who are at least in middle-aged people, say at least 30 plus.
50s or yeah, 40s, 50s type. Okay.
Yes.
And
So,
you might be finding the power of your degree, like it's your first year articleship. I can understand that it was a very enriching experience for you, and now you working in a brand like a Tata, and then at the age of 22, you a person who is having like working in the company for 15, 20, 30 years or so, and your degree is giving you that opportunity to stand next to them, to be a part of the system. So I think this would not have been possible without the degree of CA. Am I right in what I say?
yes. So, like, right when I join and when I introduce anybody, people will tell me, okay, so what level did you join at? So I'll be like, okay, this is level. And they'll be like, oh, so there will be people who have been working 10 years and then they have reached that, L1, L2, whatever we call that. So they have reached there, but because they are not a qualified CA, they are at a different level now. Because you joined, you're right from the beginning at that level already.
What
So,
they call
yes.
as a jump start.
Yes, that's true. So we're totally feeling it, being here, hands-on, how it feels. Because people out there you hear that, oh, see, so life settled here, life is okay, all those things you hear. But when you join a company and you're already at a deputy manager level and you've been given that thing also by people, because generally if you're a trainee and if you have to do a knowledge transfer, they'll be like, okay, what do you want to know? We'll tell you. We'll spend 10 minutes with you. Now, because they know that I'm a qualified person and I'm at this level and I'm reporting to so and so person right now, they're like, oh, so we will give you our time. We will explain to you. You really have the right to understand how exactly it functions. Tomorrow, if there's any interaction with us, we can explain it to you easily what our problems are. Maybe in finance, you can help us solve something. So they have
People
this
are
thing that,
very good, that way, people are very cooperative, like what we see sometimes outside, but in this, being a hand sharing experience, helping others grow, the people find happiness in that also. So do you mind mentioning us about the CTC which Tata has given you, or is it an NDA? I don't know.
it's just sort of an idea, but I feel like I can give you a range, a little over.
Oh, it's automatically gone, no audio in this part.
So then there is no repeat. So it's pretty good. I think compared to whatever others I got, this was the best offer which I had in
So
the
it's a
category.
double digit, or
Yes,
obviously a double digit?
double digit. And in fact, I would say I'm already earning a six figure right in my first job, up like an enhanced.
Oh, in hand six
Yeah.
figures. Oh, okay,
Yes.
okay. So, what are the financial goals?
I would, I mean, you've seen the world outside today when they talk about financial goals, almost like, I want to retire at the age of 40 or I want to retire at the age
They
of
call
30.
it as fire,
Yes,
financial
yes,
independence,
fire me.
retire early. Yeah.
All of that I've heard, but I don't know. Probably my first aim would be to get a house built, maybe.
Okay.
Uh, but being a chartered accountant, I need to see. Is it better to take a joint loan? Is it better to have at this interest rate will I get it? Will I have a good CIBIL score? How things will function. And right now, from the beginning of my articleship itself, whatever money I've been getting, I've always been into investing because I live with my parents. There's nothing that I firstly have to take care of. So either it's about what you spend in your entertainment part of it or it's investing. So it's always just that I have to divide my money in these two brackets to invest about 50-60% out of it. And the remaining, just for mine, it is always like the first day when you get the money, it's like, okay, my SIPs are due, my normal stock market, however I analyze, will go into those and also go into a PPF account. So I'll analyze that. And if that will first go away, remaining whatever is there, you see whatever you do. And if you're still having something in your bank account at the end of the month, just put it back again there. It's better to invest it than just lying in your bank account.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So
I
saving
hope
should be your biggest expense. I always say that. So any indulgences which you have had in the money that you have earned? Like you've pampered yourself or something, or no, not yet?
ensure that how it happens.
And you're not audible, Wrinkle. So what indulgences? That is what I was asking you.
Not very deep of that sort, I would say, but I ensure that my mom has the indulgences wherever she has been restricting herself all the way. I feel like so. Me and my mom will probably go for a day in the spa sort of a thing once in a month now. So I'll ensure that she comes with me and we both have it. So just that as of now, nothing very indulgent.
Oh, that's beautiful. That
Party.
doing something for your parents, creating experiences for them is wonderful. Okay, right. So I'm an old school of thought, and you guys are the Gen Z. Like 2000 plus bonds are a different aura altogether. So now that you've got your degree, and so is it only a complete career-oriented personality that you see within you, or is there any part of or an element of domestication or a family angle also which you have within you?
I would say it's still just the career part of it. I feel so
Okay,
that's there,
so
but
is
I
it?
also
Yeah, please complete.
yeah, but just that I also want to ensure that every 1 month I do go for a proper vacation, and I have to do a budget according to that also. So that's one kind of a thing which I want to keep, but domestic wise, I don't think really as of now.
Like, running a family or cooking and packing tiffins. Do you see yourself in that? I just want to know.
Not really as of now. I feel.
Nothing? Okay. And is there a Prince Charming coming on a white horse, or is it like you only are the Jhansi ki Rani riding a horse? So,
No, probably I'm the Auntie Kirani.
Jhansi ki Rani, okay. That's an honest answer. Okay. Right. So, apart from that, any guidance, to any person who is thinking of pursuing the CA course, any guidance that you would like to give?
I actually it just happened to be that yesterday we had a relative who came down because there are two CAs in the family. Let's have a discussion about if she is planning to write a final now. She really wanted to come down and just talk to us. We just gave that yesterday. So now that when someone comes for guidance sort of a thing, it is like, what do you tell? And yeah, but I do feel like people who are already taking this course are motivated enough to get through it in the first place because the whole world is already telling them how challenging it is. That is, the people who have that inherent quality of getting through it are majority of the people who are getting into the course in the first place, I feel. So that's there, but consistency is the key, I would say, because around us, our friends might be doing an engineering or they might be studying to become a doctor, maybe, and their lives go completely different. I feel, and there are people who are just doing college for the sake of doing it. We see a lot of people outside which may feel us like may make us feel that we're probably in the wrong direction because why are we still studying? why are we not having a very extravagant life like them and all of that? But I feel like it's better that you stay consistent and do that part of it. You'll see later how life turns around for you versus what your other friends are doing currently.
Correct.
So you will
Mm.
always see that, and at least for that part of it, stay consistent to what you already touch your hands upon, and get through it in as soon as possible. Because I've seen my colleagues back in office who have been trying to give attempts, and when it doesn't happen, when you see a disappointment on their face, and you feel like I'm married now and I'm still writing this exam. My husband has finished writing this exam. I'm still doing it. So I've seen these kind of cases where one person in the couple is still writing an exam, they have not been able to get through, and here I am has this whole thing, my career until the age of 25 to be in some sort of a position, and then I'll think about something else. I feel like if people have this kind of a mindset, they're going probably in the right direction.
Yeah, and you're also pursuing an MBA, right?
Not yet. I not
Not yet. I
yet.
think some of you mentioned, or maybe some other student. Okay, I might have got confused. But yeah, right. Are you planning any further studies also?
Yeah, probably I feel maybe after this experience of maybe about 2 or 3 odd years, then I'll probably think of getting into an IM probably for an
Oh, wonderful. Okay. So then you're planning to get into a postgraduate course. But yeah, you should certainly study as much as possible. There's nothing less of what you have studied, but if you can study more, just go for it. Like, think about it later, first act. This is that. Like, for everything else, you should think first and act less. Here, you first like act upon it and then सोचते रहना कि अरे ये मैंने कर लिया, अरे ये भी हो गया, ऐसा टाइप का अप्रोच रखना चाहिए, I think, because you have the age on your side. There's no end to learning, but yeah, you can add further feathers to your cap, as simply said. Right. So how is it on social media? Do you have those selfies which you post, and is there any Instagram reel, or is it a Snapchat? And they make those faces and click photos. So tell me, how is your life happening? Your digital identity, basically.
I am just there and probably seeing what other people are doing, and I sometimes post about if there is something really different in my life. Maybe other people are not experiencing this right now. It's like I really go out where I see something very pretty. That it's not like I am going to be out there in my profile. That really doesn't happen in that time. I mean, if I really have to speak to a crowd, or if I like to explain something, being in person sort of a thing, yes, I can put out my life there and people can hear what has happened. But if it's putting on the social media sort of thing, I am not out there. It's quite subtle, I think.
Okay, so you don't put more of your photos or life events or something. No, but you consume social media, though you don't contribute to it.
Yes, that's there. But actually, if you look at it, if I open an Instagram today, I'm following so many news channels or whatever the news thing. So if I open my phone, I know I'll get some information about something which is happening in some part of the world. Is that sort of a thing? It's not like, some 100 people, what are they doing in their lives, which trip did they go? It's not really that which will show on my feed in the first place. Because I'm following so many news and blah, blah, whatever I have to be aware of. So it always happens to be that way. So it's not like if I open an Instagram seeing about what's happening in other people's lives. It's more about I know what is going on. There'll be a Bloomberg, there'll be an economic time, which is telling about interest rates, or it's telling about some new interview with some other person has given today, what's happening in this country. It'll function in that way. So I get my knowledge good from there to be
Okay, okay.
function that way more.
So it's not, they say, like average people, they talk about people, and great people, they talk about ideas. So you are into social media for getting the thoughts about the world and not a peep into who went where and what is happening in somebody's life. That's something very nice. And your personality groom, yeah, please mention, then I'll ask my next question.
Right, to add this over here that, so in 11th and 12th grade, I was in this college which was newly came up that time. And the college ka chairperson was actually a life coach. So he will do these mandatory emotional coaching classes on every Thursday. And I feel
What's
like
the
a lot
name?
of his name is Mr. Deepak Shinde. He's based
Deepak
out of
Shinde.
Pune. I mean, he's actually based out of Pune, so I don't know if you be aware. So he
No.
does these coaching classes, life coaching classes back in Pune and in Bangalore also. And he opened this college with this whole idea that people who are the 16, 17, 18 years of age, before they get into anything wrong, it's better to have their personality development at this age. So they will understand how to react to the life which is ahead of them, sort of a thing. So I feel like a lot of shaping of my personality, that I can do public speaking, or I can express my emotions, or the way I think differently from a lot of other people around me currently, not having the same. All these things actually come up a lot because of that 11th and 12th grade, where there was, a compulsory thing of being part of public speaking, compulsory thing of attending the emotion quotient classes, how to handle your stress, how to handle your anger issues, how to be a family oriented person, because at this age everybody just wants to be out that they don't even care who's back at home. At this age, right when you get into 11th, 12th grade, that kind of a thing. So I feel like a lot of reshaping of the personality that I have today is because of Deepak Shinde, because he's always been there from the emotional coaching point of view, and I really feel that that has added a lot of value to the way I am as a person, the way I behave, the way I think, and those things.
Okay. It's very important to get the right guidance, and like I took an interview of an AR 25, Suhas Subedar. So he said, like, I used to read the Bhagavad Gita. So it doesn't matter which are the means, but you need some sort of a direction. Let it be a Vipassana, an art of living, an inner engineering, or as you mentioned, I hope that many students do Google about Deepak Shinde, or even I will do so. And they take the guidance, and that gives you the right डायरेक्शन, क्योंकि फिसलने की पॉसिबिलिटी बहुत ज्यादा है इस टाइम पे, और ना समझ भी होती है, गलत चीजें सही लगती है. So in that context, coming from the horse's mouth, because if I say, I will sound like an auntie, क्या ये तो मतलब टीचर ही है और preach भी करती है ऐसा. But you saying it, I think it will certainly it will have more weightage. So thank you so much for mentioning about this specifically for this point. And yeah, now talking about into the feminine role, about personality grooming, like how do you see, like how have you seen yourself evolving, your fashion sense, your makeup products, or like what, like your hair, because yeah, being a chartered accountant, you're also a human being, you're also a personality. So please, मतलब दिल खोल के you can talk about it, कि क्या mistake किया, क्या सही हुआ, what is your style?
Yeah. So I would actually like to put it in this way, that, my mom has always been this person that whichever day it is, whether it is a Monday or a Sunday, whatever day, so once she is freshen up, it will almost look like she's actually going to attend an event today. She will always dress up, keep up herself in that fashion. She always tells us also, if you have just kept her hair in a messy fashion just because we are at home, why have you kept it like that? You should have kept it. So she's always having this thing, no matter what's happening in your life, dress up to her sort of thing. It's always there. So I think I kind of get it from her, but I've always been there, today as an article level, nobody cares about how I'm looking or how I'm going out there, because if I'm able to, have a good sense of anything, it should be with my own, with my own money, basically, to be that frank. So I always have this thing that once I qualify, I have this liberty of dressing up, showing up, having some makeup on, having really good hair. So I've always done that from day one at office. I will dress up and show up. I will have this basic makeup, which will look fine, and I have good hair. So I've got a blow dryer. I have my hair in place. And that actually feels very good. When I talk to a person and if I feel like I'm looking really good, I have this thing that, that's important. You have to show up in that fashion. So I have this thing, I have to look good and I have to have my, top-notch fashion sense till wherever I can do it. And it
And plus
happens.
now there are splendid what do you say, options available because of the online websites and the fashion influencers and so many. So are you always
Yeah.
dressed in formals, or do you wear Indians also?
Yeah, so back in college and all that, it was always Indian, so I've been in that fashion. But coming to the company that I'm working right now, it's like anything under earth you want to wear, you can wear. So that includes, like, some days I wear like a pajama kurta set and go, very few days, and the others it will either be like quite casual, like a jeans or a shirt. I have more of this thing of wearing a shirt rather than a t-shirt, because I feel t-shirt looks very casual. So I would generally wear a shirt and something on top. So I kind of like to layer my clothes the way. So layering always looks like you've dressed up, put some effort in the way you're looking, kind of a thing, instead of a very simple dressing. I feel like some layering sort of a thing looks good. And
Yeah, you're putting an accessory, like if you want to carry a scarf or anything, just that one thing has to be a differentiator type of a thing.
ensure my, the footwear that I have, it should go somewhere with, I've got like two pairs of new sandals, something which will look like a wedge sort of a shoe. The other one will look like a sandal, which will go on most of the things. So I've done into like from top to bottom sort of a thing. Yeah. So shopping has been this thing. So every month I will invest into at least something very differently looking clothes that I'm not been wearing till now. So I had this thing. Every month at least do a little spend on that also. That was
Okay.
it.
So what have you liked out of whatever you've bought so far?
I think there's some couple of two shirts which I got from website were pretty good. I feel like I would wear like a dressing like top something what I'm wearing now and layer it with a shirt and pants which would be like comfortable but like trouser wise, not like jeans, but trouser sort of a thing that looks good. So my mom was also telling that yeah, instead of just a t-shirt or just a kurta, something like a like something inside and then like a shirt on top, just like a oversized shirt sort of a thing, which you say. That and with a straight pair of trousers. Trousers with multiple colors I have. So it goes that way.
Oh,
That
it goes. Okay, okay. And some light makeup like that. Oh,
yeah, light makeup and always having rings. So I have this thing of wearing new rings sometimes. That I
okay.
have. And a watch should definitely be there. I cannot leave my house without a watch. So
Okay, so
that's
do
there.
you wear a
Nowadays,
digital
I
watch or what do you say, a traditional watch, analog like?
uh, it's analog generally and not a person to person. I mean, the watch is job. Your phone is doing the job which you're trying to get out of
Yeah,
the
yeah,
house.
yeah,
So
yeah,
I
yeah.
don't believe in that concept of having a smart watch in your hand.
Same here. For me also, it is like
Yeah.
I will
So it's
still wear
very
these
common.
watches only. Like okay, so watch
So,
also gives it gives you sort of a dressing well for whatever you want in life. You should dress up for that. They say so. So, but now that when you're studying for your CA, you don't even bother whether your hair combed or not, or what
yes,
is whether your eyebrows are done or what is
yes,
happening. No,
yes,
nothing at all. Now you have
definitely.
that what you say, luxury of time, luxury of money, or you can do think about all these things also, and then you might see yourself evolving over a period of time also,
So
right?
like because while we used to study, there would be just to save the time of the day, I would like my hair would just be tied up on top. I would have not taken a bath straight for 2 days because why to waste that time? Because once you take a bath, you need to do the whole moisturizing, this, that, the whole part of it. So forget it. Let's not waste time. Let's just sit and continue
let
whatever.
others suffer let others suffer, let me study.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So because those thoughts are also not there, what clothes and what are other food also you're eating. There are people who put down weight, when they are studying. But for me, if you say, I used to always lose weight when I used to study.
Same for both of us.
So it wouldn't used to matter. Like I have to eat anything, nothing, just little bit hunger, eat something, start again studying. So and anyways, later on, once you put on, you always have to lose. So it's better not to put on.
Yeah, my mom says the same thing for both of us out there. Whenever out there you see people tell, no, you guys are both in. Like it's better to be this way than to be a little put on and then trying to reduce. This is
Yeah.
fine.
Because I
Very
always
much.
say, you put up in kgs and you lose in grams. Like you see, oh, 2 kg put up, and then when you're saying, no, I'm working on weight loss, oh, 100 gram gone, 200 gram, a little bit. It's like, oh. So, yeah, with age, even the metabolism changes and things do happen differently. So, yes, that's been, I think I have asked you quite a lot. Anything that you would like to
No, I think everything's summed up. That's it.
everything is covered. Okay, so yeah, you could just give over
Yeah.
the so yeah, Himanshi, you were mentioning something when she was talking about Deepak Shinde, but I didn't probably I continue talking to her at that time. So please, if we could start our conversation on that note.
So for me, so with her 11th and 12th standard, it was more of getting like a rule book and following that. But for me, because she was in a different college and I was in a different college, I thought the correct way to approach developing my personality would be to experience stuff. Like when she spoke about public speaking, it was something that was imposed on every student in their college. But for me, it was more of you need to take the initiative because in her college, the population was comparatively less. I had a college where we were 3,000 students and every single person is competing to, for example, even if I have to represent Christ at a fest, for example, I first have to internally eliminate those 3,000 people that are there, maybe from science, commerce, and social, and then, so, okay, I can be in the top 10 or 15 to go and represent Christ itself. So for me, my outlook on that was a little different, saying that I wanted to learn all of this from an experience rather than getting a rule book. Of course, my mom and she were always there to guide me and be like, okay, no, you don't have to succumb to peer pressure. It is fine. You can, do this or do that. And it can be a different way of looking at things. So I think 10th and 11th, while for her, it was more of learning and following. For me, it was more of first experiencing it and then learning it, because I did not succeed in every single competition that I was there with Christ Junior College. But I think that also taught me something. And with the bigger population that we had at Christ, I felt that there was more exposure in terms of how good you can be or how bad you can be. And I think CJC provided me that freedom to make that choice to be how good I can be. And always there was someone better, because we were 3,000 students and there was always someone better. So that strive to become excellent was something that was a motivation for me in 11th and 12th.
Okay. So she learned it in a structured manner. For you, it went in an unstructured, organic, you learned it through experience. And she, as you said, she learned it through the rule book. Okay.
Yes.
Right. So different. But again, through whichever means, but you can reach the goal. Like you both had it in your mind that you want to do public speaking. So like you were like in the rat race of 3,000 people over there and all of that. And first she got that particular mentor through whom she could get the same. So means doesn't matter, but you developing that skill set is, I think, yeah. But why were you both not in the same college?
Because of Bangalore, so we've never been in the same institution throughout our
Not in the same school also.
No, not same school, not same. Only Christ University we ended up being in BCom F&A. So our faculties always look at us together. They're like, okay, Rinkal Himanshi. Yeah, so they are like that. But in terms of school, we were not at the same school in CJC. Also, I was in CJC, she was in Kingdom College. So it was always very, very different. We always had this competition saying that no, the institution that I study in is better. Or which one? Even though the board was same, the way that both of the institutions that we were at like functioned very, very differently. So that actually proved to be an advantage, because again, I told you, whatever experiences she had, I felt like I was experiencing it firsthand, and whatever experiences I had, I felt that she was also experiencing it firsthand. So I think that kind of also gave us a broader perspective in terms of trying to understand, oh, if you are from a bigger college, this is going to be your challenge and these are going to be your advantage. But if you're from a smaller college, then these are the challenges that you will face. So that way, I think it was a good thing that we ended up not being. I mean, specifically for college, it was a very, very strict cutoff system. Anyone who is in Bangalore who is writing 10th boards would know that you have to get like a 95 percentage plus in order to just get into the institution itself, or like have some really good sports achievements, like a national level thing or something, to be able to get inside. And she wanted to be inside. I think she missed off by a few, like a 1.5% or something, and that's why she chose to go to Kingdom College.
Oh, okay. Right. So now you have done your articleship in Deloitte. Rather, it would be in process right now also, right? So yeah, so I've also done my articleship in Deloitte. So like we are fellow Deloittes, fellow Deloitte articles. So please talking about regarding your intern and how you got in through the Deloitte and what was your learning experience in Deloitte?
So for me, like right from foundation itself, like I had heard of the Big Four, although I couldn't mention which are the Big Four at that point in time. I knew that I want to get into a big company itself. For me, mid-size was never an option per se. When I was doing my intermediate also, I was like, okay, fine, any Big Four is fine, but I want to get in Big Four. And then I remember my intermediate results when I checked. I was with my mentor, who was Bhavita, and I told him that very day that my first preference is Deloitte. I don't know why I had that particular liking for Deloitte. It's not like I had first something. The only thing I knew was I think that year it was ranked one of the best workplaces. So I was like, okay, fine. If not anything else, this is what I'll tell in my interview. Okay, why Deloitte? Because it's the number one place to work.
Because that's a very common question they ask, that why should we hire you? Why Deloitte?
Yes.
Like, yeah. In any of the interviews, that's a question they ask. Yeah.
So I was very sure that I want to be in a Big Four, and I was very happy to get in Deloitte. The Deloitte, if I have to tell, it was a little different with the interview round. So my first was obviously a very basic check of your personality, your speaking skills, which was I think it was with the help of AI that Deloitte had implemented. So You had to like record yourself on a call and stuff like that. So that was there. They checked your normal basic English skills, like comprehensive skills. They give you a comprehension and they'll ask you questions based on that. Not very technical. That was the first round. The second round was with a senior manager or maybe a director. They will check your AS skills or like your leases, taxation, basic, whatever you've learned in India. But that will also be very easy for you to crack, considering that you just passed intermediate. And the fact that you passed knows that you know your subject. So that'll be very easy for you. If you are confident with the subject, you can crack it. And then you will have the final. So once you qualify with your managers round, you have your partner round. And partner round will be more of a casual conversation saying that, okay, they try to check your personality. That was what was there. And then you get it. So I was shortlisted for two firms. I think Deloitte was my first preference. So I went in with Deloitte. The reason that I wanted to be in a big four was my goal has always been that I want to be in corporate. Like we come from a business family, and majority of like my family, or if you see our relatives, they do their own business. But I was like, maybe I don't have that in me to like do a business. I thought I'd be corporate itself. And if you want to be a corporate, a big four is a very great start. Like you learn, like initially 1.5 years, your learning curve would be so steep. I'm not talking in terms of the practical work. Of course, that is going to be there in your first job experience or your first article. Anywhere you join, you will learn so many things. But in terms of how do you interact in a group of people where there is a partner who is like so experienced, in my first interaction with the partner, I felt that I know literally nothing in terms of how
Hmm.
to even like he would look at a thing and be able to point out correctly that this is something that needs to be improved on. So it's just that you feel so overwhelmed, but at the same time you feel so lucky that you're getting to be with such knowledgeable, such experienced people, such brilliant people. In fact, like if you're in a big four, you will definitely get that experience. Of course, it had this shortcoming that you have to give in long hours of work, but I think you need to like, I think this might be a problem that people might be like, okay, if I want to get a rank, how do I, why choose the big four if you want to get a rank? And that was a question
Yeah.
asked me also. When I told that my intermediate score is 562, people were like, oh, so you're probably aiming for a rank. And I was like, yes. I mean, I wasn't very explicit with the fact, but I was like, yeah, I really want to crack it in the first go. At least that was the bare minimum. People were like, okay, why are you choosing a big four for this? Then you should probably go to mid-size because the workload will be less. But again, my longer term vision was to be in corporate. So as early as I was able to start it, I was like, okay, let's do this. It is fine. And I did, like, there were long working hours. And if it's a quarter, and I was in statutory audit, so if it's the quarter end or a year end, you have your LRs going on, you have your if you're working with a listed entity or a subsidiary of a listed entity, you have your deadline to submit stuff to SEBI, to submit it to the parent company for consolidation, everything. So that time it was really stressful, but I think the main goal was to communicate it to your seniors, saying that, see, I will give it as a part of an engagement team. I do understand that have a certain responsibility to fulfill, which you should do. You should be very sincere with your work. Doesn't matter if it's just an articleship, but then you also always need to remember that your overarching goal is to complete CA final examination. You will complete your articleship. 3 years will get over. Like, time will fly. You will not you will not realize it. But your overarching goal is to complete CA final examination, and that should it should always keep ringing in your mind. If you see that you're overcommitting or something, if you see yourself doing something that's not aligning with it, you need to correct your action that very moment. So that's what. So it was always there in my mind that my goal is to complete the final examination. At the end of the day, it's an exam. You will have great practical experiences, like how she was narrating. When I got the opportunity to work on special purpose audit and with tax audits and everything. So I think a big four experience would be very similar. I don't think I have to go deep into that. But what I'm trying to tell is you always remember that your main goal is to complete the final examination. Once you have that in your mind, I think it will be an easier thing to get through.
Yeah, so many other things get filtered out, many other things
Yeah.
which you wish to do, because once you have a goal, you know that I can't entertain or I cannot spend my time doing these other things. And then, as I always, there are these few statements which I always say that, in articleship, you are authorized to do mistakes. That's one, you are officially allowed, and like you should not do, but even if it happens, it's like, oh, it's an article, learning, that type. As a qualified despite doing a mistake, is little bit not taken that well. And second, I say, for doing your for preparations for inter, both groups, you have 9 months, but for preparing for CA final, you have entire 3 years with you. So an early start will always give you an added advantage. So, FR, FM is the subjects which you start with generally, like whatever. And nowadays, so because of the online, the recorded classes, there's so much of flexibility. Like I remember when I was preparing for my CA final, I had also finished all my classes before my study leave. But when I had to do costing classes, it was like Rakesh Agarwal sir from Pune, 17 days class used to come from Nagpur, and then morning it used to be class for 2-3 hours, again evening 2-3 hours of class, and full day Deloitte office. So that time I had requested, generally there is long hours, but during the off season or so morning doing class, then going to office, then evening doing the classes again reaching home at 9 and 9:30 in the night. But yeah, that has to be done, that morning, evening, that weekend time, it has to be capitalized. And basically it's just you preparing your mind. If you say you have time, you have time. If you say I don't have time, you don't have time. It's just what you make up your mind for. That's what I think.
I saw this with my peers. They were like, "Oh, we have 3 years. 3 years is a long period of time to complete." Like at that point, it was 8 subjects, but then it changed later on and became 6 subjects. So don't ever think that you have time. Like that should be one thought that should not occur. And a little more expounding on having an early start. Even I started my preparation for CA final before the end of the first year of articleship. And once I started, it was not like I was taking a break. Maybe if I finished a subject to revise it, I'll take a break. And then after that, immediately like push on to a second subject. I mean, wherever break was required, I'm not telling I studied every day for like 5 hours or 7 hours. That was not possible. In peak times, there were days when I did not study at all. But still, there was some sense of consistency where you study for at least 3 hours in a day, like morning 1.5 hour, evening 1.5 hour. I used to study in a cab, like my being like Bangalore traffic and my client place being like 20 kilometers away. I used to sit in the cab 1 hour. I used to open audit and just study. Like the new syllabus that came, majority of that I learned it while I was in a cab. So it feels those little pockets of time. Try to just put something in your head. Like there are, it's not like the two teachers. They just listen to like a playlist of it. Like you can just watch a YouTube video to revise. Like if you don't have the energy, probably at night you're traveling back to home and you don't have the energy to read something, just listen to like a revision of an NDA that some faculty has given or some revision as a podcast. Think of it like that and do it, right? So always it was about keeping those little bit pockets of time and studying, and then constant revision is something that I'd like to really emphasize on. You will finish FR, you finish AFM, usually those are the subjects that you finish really fast. And then if you open your book like in the study leave, then everything will be Greek and Latin for you, even though you would have made notes and everything. So like keep revising. Like of course you'll have your articleship, which with my being in a big four, everything that we did has to have a reason. Like if the client has done a particular entry in a particular way, or suppose it's a business combination and it has happened in a particular way, they'll be like, okay, a revenue has been recognized. Check, show it in your working paper that that 5-step model has been followed. So that maybe I think with my documentation at a big four, that kind of helped me to constantly be in touch with the Indians and always have like, okay, the Indians are telling this and therefore this is not right, or therefore this is right. So being in constant touch with the subject, practical is one thing, but exam-oriented approach also has to be there in your preparation, right from day one. Conceptual understanding, first priority, any given day. But slowly as the days keep getting closer, you need to switch and understand how to make that switch, make the transition towards your exam-oriented preparation. And I think that is the approach that worked for me, because I was constantly revising FR, AFM, just all like 10 some 15 some is fine. It won't take a long period of time. See and solve it if you're not able to recollect it. So yeah, so that was what I start early so that you have a conceptual understanding and then can have an exam oriented.
Yeah. So early start and exam oriented approach are like few. Obviously, without putting in this hard work, an AR7 can't come here. Well, that's, there has to be something in the making. Without that, such beautiful success, such mind blowing success won't happen. Okay. Right. So, yeah, we've already talked about so many things, but we certainly need to talk about audit. Right. So, yeah, 86 marks in audit. मतलब तुम फरिश्ते हो I have like no words. Like, Joe people, like they get 43 in audit. They're like, wow, ma'am, 43, like it's a value. And you're like 86. It's Rishabh Oswal who is AR1. He's like 93 in audit. So please, okay, you have taken classes and you've attended the, what do you say, you've studied from the notes, but जो students अभी तुम्हें सुन रहे हैं, please उन तक तुम्हारी आवाज पहुंचाओ कि क्या ऑडिट में करना होगा.
So audit का ये था कि like how Rinkal told, it was her favorite subject because she was able to get an exemption. For me, it was in intermediate, except for taxation and audit, I had got exemption in all other subjects. And audit also, I got 58, so I missed exemption by 2 marks. So I have that thing that I have to get good marks in audit and have to show that I can do every subject. And like being in statutory audit, I was like, that's the basic thing. You should know audit. Even though you're not learning in your practical subject, people will be like, okay, you did stat audit, kitna aaya audit mein? वैसे. So that was there. But when talking about an exam oriented approach, first and foremost thing is listen to the classes properly. Whichever classes you've taken. Like I told you, I'm a night owl, so I used to come back from office, especially if it was late hours. Even if I was back home by, for example, 11 p.m., I would sit for 2 hours, watch one class, make notes diligently, and concentrate in class, try to have fun in the class, because I mean, every teacher, even you made classes fun. It was not continuously just bombarding us with essays, but बीच में 2 मिनट का ही अगर वो 2 मिनट का भी break है तो it will be helpful. So that I'm pretty sure all faculties do that. Even you did that in your class. So first and foremost thing is make your notes properly. Whatever the faculty is telling, listen to the faculty. Just blindly follow the faculty because they've been doing the subject for such a long time. Their experience in the subject versus yours, there's no comparison at all. So you follow your faculty, and then even like for audit, like how he told mnemonics helped me. Like I remember that we were talking about your Deloitte experience of Sapota and for internal controls, then Frena, and then Venus, Widco, all of that. So I still remember all of that. So if I have to list down those 6 points, I still did. I can probably list those down. So yeah, so for a theory subject, mnemonics become very important. You need to know that ICAI looks not only at like audit as a subject to understand is very easy, but then you have to write it is when the challenge comes. The kind of words that you use, are you using the textbook language or not? So with audit, it being a theory subject, it wasn't like 5 days continuously I'm just doing audit because then I know I'll get bored, I'll fall asleep or something. So every single day, so I had divided it saying that I paired subjects. So it was DT with FR and IDT with AFR. So that's how I paired it. Audit every day. Audit happened every day. So 3 hours audit. It was either continuously 3 hours audit or 1.5 hour in the morning, 1.5 hour in the evening. That's how I used to do audit. It being a theory subject, one of the things that you were also mentioning in class is read loudly. So I used to read loudly. If my neighbors get disturbed, it's fine. Like they also learn a little bit of audit. It's okay. So that was really loudly. Writing practice, as she also emphasized, I'd like to emphasize it again. And one thing which you had told in one of the classes, which I remember till date, was if you don't do writing practice, ICI will make sure that your exam becomes a writing practice. So that
if you don't do writing practice, ICI will ensure that your exam becomes a writing practice. Okay, so students who are listening, listen from the horse's mouth. AIR 786 marks in audit. Okay.
So that was So two, like write. If for example, if you're feeling okay, if I'm doing 570 and I'm continuously writing like 3 answers regarding the same subject, do a paper practice. Because again, as you told, when you write, you will feel that, oh, I'm blank. Like I know the exact words regarding of that particular essay. But when it comes to writing, I'm not able to write it. And anyone who is, if you've not practiced writing before and you do it now, you will definitely get that. So writing practice, the theory subject, very, very important. And then follow a structured approach. Again, like Winkle was telling, do the content, do the question answers, mark the answers which are a little difficult or different or not very, your comfort level. You do those marking and then come back to those at the end. And then for example, like in your notes that we had for professional ethics, I think we had questions from 1992. I remember being very, very exhausted. Look at as many questions as possible. From any corner you find any question you feel it's relevant to this current year syllabus, look at it, read it. You somehow it'll be there in some corner of your brain. You will remember it. So
Yeah,
that
so
was
historical to latest, all questions incorporated, like no study material, MTP, RTP suggested. For practice purpose, for dodging of questions, yeah, you can refer to those. But as such, you study this, and that is why the problem is I cannot reduce the number of pages of the book, because it's very heartbreaking कि ये question ऐसे similar 4 question है delete. मुझे लगता है नहीं, let it be. Like it's like a guilt feeling for me. My conscience doesn't allow me. But then students say, oh, 650 pages, module 1, module 2 put together. But like if you look out of it, like 300 pages are just questions or 350 questions. But yeah, that's how it is.
one more thing. So when you've read that much, you almost like get like you were talking about deleting questions, right? And then what if that question itself comes in? Let's say it's a very interesting question or a very different question. So your choice would always be that I'd rather get bored of doing the syllabus so many times and rather than finding a new interesting question on the day of exam. Trust me, if you're not bored of a subject by doing it so many times, not bored because you find a subject boring. I'm telling bored because of doing so many revisions and doing so many questions and having like an exhaustive practice, getting bored of that, and then finding like when you're writing the audit paper, that comfort, okay, I have already written this question, I've already seen this question or something on similar thoughts. You should rather have that than be like, okay, I'll do only 10 questions and others, okay, they don't seem that important or something. Don't do that selective
No,
studying.
that selective study backfires. And
Yes.
as you said, rather than getting bored of studies, you get bored of number of revision, get bored of number of questions.
Yeah.
कि कितने बार किया. Like, say like any particular, there are similar type of questions like clause 5, part 1, second schedule that, PF fund, say the loan has been given or something like that. So sometimes it's superannuation fund, sometimes it's gratuity fund, then it's PF fund. Essence of the question is same. But now if you see those 3 funds, you have reiterated the concept 3 times in your head, so that's again a task done, right?
So that's what. So emphasizing on that, and then again, as she was telling, with the clauses, with Karo and with the professional ethics clauses and essays and the name and the standard and the number of the standard, very very essential. By heart, it like there is no like you used to tell in class.
Like you say Hanuman Chalisa type, like Rakilo.
Yeah, so that was
before you go further, can you tell us what is clause 4, part 1, second schedule? Before we go further, if you can tell me what is clause 4, part 1, second schedule?
Clause 4 of part 1 of second schedule is I can't tell the exact words now because I
will say it for you. You just tell me the crux. A chartered accountant in practice is deemed to be guilty of professional misconduct if he...
411 is partnership.
I want 412.
412. Yeah.
You see, each of the interview, I'm troubling the students. I'm, just irritating.
412.
So see, 112 is confidentiality, 212 is certifies without examining the related records, 312 is vouches for the accuracy of forecast. Like if my father is a director in a company, can I do the audit of that company?
No.
No.
It's something on the lines of if you're interested in an enterprise, then you can't do.
So that interest is called what? Some S interest.
Chartered accountant gives your professional misconduct if he engages in the audit of a financial statement in which he or his related party has a...
his partner, his relative, his firm expresses his opinion on the financial statements of any business enterprise where he, his partner, his firm, his relative, AS 18, Ind AS 24 has
any interest I know it's interest, but I'm not getting the exact word.
Substantial interest, has
Substantial.
substantial interest. But however, information
That's
system work allowed, yeah.
the fact that I could not remember emphasizes the importance of revising. I didn't revise for 1.5 hours and I forgot it. Instead of studying the subject so well. So revise everybody. When you I tell you this shouldn't happen.
Yeah, so this is what should not happen. Okay, right. So that's just like, okay, at least though you're trying to forget, you're not able to forget. At least it's in that stage, right now. Okay, right. So watching audit classes, like, I speak majorly in the class in English, but yeah, watching the classes, I speak like a Shankar Mahadevan, like breathless. I'm so happy taking interviews because I have to just ask a question and listen. I'm enjoying it thoroughly, because audit class I have to go on like breathless non-stop. तो कैसे है, like, how was, like, if any student is thinking कि यार okay चलो आरती मैम का audit का class लेते हैं, let us put it as simple as that, very objectively, like, no what do you say, soliciting, canvassing, no, but yeah, what would you say?
So I'd say for any faculty that you've taken, there will be a few factors that you look at. First is the number of hours. For me personally, that was never a consideration. I was like,
Number of hours not a concern, okay.
yeah. So if it's more better, it's fine. You just get a more detailed understanding of the subject. I was never like a fast track person. Maybe if that's your preference, you can go for it. But number of hours was not a concern. The obviously the question bank and the notes that the faculty gives, the books, like we had module 1 and module 2 for audit, that was very, very important. So for me, since I told you, like, the questions covered literally any question that one could think of from any corner of ITI material or ITI MCT article, everything was covered. You don't have to look at,
So I
10
always
different
say, like my exams get over before you write exams because I have to come up with the next edition of the book. I have to finish fast track marathon. Once that is over, I feel like, oh my, now my exams are over. Now students can write their exams.
so that was so the that's what, so this coming back to the book point. You look at the book. I've told you, like, I don't know if you can access it from anywhere else, but for me personally, it was very, very exhaustive. And the third and actually the most important point is how the faculty approaches the subject. Like for me, I know when Aarti ma'am was teaching, she really had the genuine liking for audit as a subject itself. That you could sense it. Like if you see the class, if you watch a revision video, maybe she has it on her YouTube, you can check it. She loves the subject. That is very, very important for any faculty that you take. So Auntie ma'am loves the subject, you can see it. And the energy that she brought to the class was also very, very positive in terms of, like, she used to speak like Shankar Mahadev is breathless. She was loud and she was like, you will listen to me. I don't care if you're watching recorded classes. I will make sure that I drill this particular essay in your head by the end of this class. You don't. So that was her intention. You could feel that. Like I used to watch after 11 p.m. It was after the entire day, after interacting with the client, after interacting with my manager, all of that. I still had the because ma'am was so like the kind of energy that she brought, the kind of, I think, the positive vibe, if I have to say, that she brought to the class was like a motivator for me to watch the class itself. So yeah, the kind of energy and the kind of stuff, and even in terms of subject knowledge. So, ma'am, for a lot of these new essays that we have as 805, 810, and all of that, ma'am actually showed the report itself. And she was like, you see car, like for example, for Caro, you have to do to 20 cost report. She showed it in the report, saying that they have used this word, the cost on really these are the kind of words they're giving because they're not providing assurance on this. So all of that was there. So a little bit of practical knowledge is also required in every subject, and that you can get in ma'am's classes. I'm not trying to ask ma'am to look on sitting canvassing, but these are the advantages that I had with ma'am's classes. And also, like, I think for me, I never had that thing, I have to ask any doubt because everything from A to Z, any possible doubt that you could have was already covered in the class. Like, she'll also tell you to the way to make notes also. Like here you write that this is a retail question, this is a wholesale question. So that when you're studying, if this is a possible question, it becomes like maybe not obvious to you, but ma'am being such an experience, initially we used to get to tell that okay, so this is a retail question. But as we kept going, by the time we came to PSU, I think we were able to see, okay, now ma'am is going to tell that this is a retail question. So she kind of enabled us to have that, look at the subject in the syllabus through those eyes of it being like a this is a possible question, or this is how maybe ICI can ask ICI. You can never get an ICI paper, but yeah, so you get that approach, and that keeps like you lead you on to being able to see the subject that way. So that was my overall experience with the classes and with preparation.
Yeah, so that's what I work on, programming your brain regarding how you pursue the subject of audit, and again mark the ATF and 5-star and waiting list questions and all those markings also, right? So that's how it works, right? So now all set for campus interviews.
Yeah, I'm preparing. 2 days back, because I was jumping into because he has just given us her interview was in September. So he has freshly come out of the entire
Who?
preparation.
Come again?
Rinkal.
Uh-huh.
So she's just freshly come out of all the preparation wala phase. So I'm directly taking her advice. I asked her to do like my mock interview. I gave her my resume, and I'm like, ask me resume related questions. Ask me. So she's doing that mock interview based on what her experience was, and she's like this ready. I could say one advantage that I have, that she's a ready resource for me. Any doubt I have, I'll be like, review my CV, or ask this question, or do you think the interviewer will be like this? What should I improve about the way that I speak? Am I speaking too much? Am I speaking too little? So that feedback is constantly there for me. I don't have to like go to like to approach maybe 10 people to interview. She
The
had to
world
do.
is at your door, at next to you.
Yeah.
You don't need to go to the world.
Yeah. So that's with the preparation. I mean, campus placements, registration date has been extended. So I mean, I was with I have submitted, filled all the details, all my marks and my course, extracurriculars, everything is done. We're just waiting to hear back as soon as possible, and pretty much excited I am to experience like I have not pinpointed that okay, this is my dream company, but yeah, looking for like I'm honestly very excited. I don't know what to expect, even though I do have a very ready-made experience with my sister. But yeah, it's fun. What I have to say is just excitement that's there, and a little bit of nervousness also, because I have to revise a little bit of audit clauses 412.
Okay, right. So, but what are you thinking about, industry or like CA side, auditor or auditee?
I will also, I think, yeah, mostly it's industry. I would also look for a management trainee role, because I don't have my mind fixed on, okay, I want to be in a particular division or a particular type of role within finance. So industry, if I get a management trainee role, nothing like it. Apart from that, maybe, I mean, audit is not again my thing also. So that is going to be the first preference. I'm looking for a management trainee role to get an overall understanding, and
Yeah.
both then I will be able to make a decision as to where do I want to further deep dive into. That
Right.
is
So
my
you have like companies like Mahindra, ITC, because she's already having got the Tata experience home for you. So now you could explore like, Mahindra, ITC or any of the big conglomerates over there for yours. But you're not going into consulting, consulting is probably.
So my first preference would be, in fact, management consulting. But if I'm talking specifically about industry, then it has to be a management training role. Consulting, I do have, luckily, I do have a few seniors who I think, would be kind enough to share their experiences, and trying to get a little bit of LinkedIn help, and all of that scouting is going on in terms of trying to find out, okay, what kind of cases do they ask, and it's a little more difficult, I think, to get into consulting. So that is still in my, I think I'm in the preparation stage of consulting. If I have to go to industry, I feel like there's already content that I know. They probably will be like, okay, FR का question पूछेंगे या audit का question पूछेंगे. But consulting is something brand new to me also right now. So my consulting का preparation stage is going on, but with industry, I've already started with like actually giving out my resume out there to the world. So yeah, so industry is what I'm closer to right now. But I think the long term goal, the final destination, I'd say, would be consulting for me.
There's no final destination, but yeah. Right. So, but yeah, if you get into consulting, probably that's an area where you can challenge yourself, is what I can look into it right now. Okay, you can challenge. Yeah, yeah. So you have a younger brother, like you two are the elder sisters, and you have a younger brother who is pursuing 11. So the other day when I had come to your place, I was like, okay, next interview has to be, and then it will be Khatri and Khatri Associates, So, and I'll be like, oh, all taught by Aarti Lahoti. So, right. So he's got a double guidance, from both of you for his future. Obviously, if he decides to prepare for CA, or if he's seen both of you go through it, sometimes it becomes, there are some younger generation who see their parents being CA and they say, "ये तो नहीं करना है, मतलब और कुछ कर लेंगे, but not." So I don't know which direction is he heading towards right now. And it was lovely meeting your mom also the other day. The non-study part also plays a very important role. Regarding it being the food, the discipline, the motivation, and all. And it was wonderful meeting her. Rather, I think and there are a lot of young parents whose kids are in 8th, 9th, and probably 6th, 7th also, as you said, and who are thinking of the question mark starts with science, commerce, arts. Then in commerce, what next? So I think it would be wonderful if I could have a discussion with your mom, like with Didi also, regarding how it could be, because that's a challenge. Like India is known to be a youth country, huge, like they say some 25 crore youth population. And the beauty of the CA course, there is no entry barrier, it's very cost effective, articleship, मतलब इतने सारे beautiful aspects है ना इस course के कि एक बार ये कर लो तो like set, you are set for all. Rather, if you take more degrees now, the matchmaking might become difficult. So,
like also did one of the most important role for both of us, in fact. But with me, my personality has been a little bit of we have very different personalities. I think it would be very evident from
you don't call her Didi? She's your elder sister, no?
She's just 1 year elder.
So discounted, huh? It's like twins.
Yeah. Yeah, so when we were kids, and we used to go for an open day parent teacher meeting. She used to be like, okay, this is my student. Now maybe we look a little different, but initially, as younger kids, people used to confuse us for twins. But with my mother, also, she's been, even though she does not have a professional degree per se, she's been a very very good source of inspiration for both of us, in terms of how to approach people in general. That is one basic thing that both of us have learned from our mother.
Wow.
How to tackle people. Even if I told if something has happened at office, she's never been in the corporate world, but she'll still be able to advise. And if I implemented her advice, I'd see, okay, this is working out, even though she's never been in the corporate world. So in spite of that, I think she's a wise person, I'd say, for being able to serve as an inspiration for us. But apart from that, I think the trust that she had, which maybe a lot of children don't have, they're not probably fortunate enough
because
to have that.
two young girls in a city like Bangalore and exploring them to the world, and you going meeting thousands of type of people. I understand what type of risk, concern and fear she would be going through.
So she was very understanding. She used to trust us with whatever. She's like, okay, as long as you can tell me, okay, why you have taken a particular decision that you have taken, I am fine with you doing whatever. It was no pressure. With my parents, both of us never felt the pressure. No, you have to complete it in the first four. You have to get a rank. Nothing of that sort was ever put on either of us. And they were always very supportive. I mean, I think as much of stress that we took, I think more than that, multiple times of that, my parents and especially my mom had to take the stress, and she had to always be there. It's something as simple as, okay, if I'm watching a class, she'll come and she'll get the food, and if she's like, okay, fine, can't wholeheartedly, if you want to write and you're not able to have food with hand, she'll come and feed you. So even as a 20-year-old, my mom used to do that, and she was like, it's fine, you're my kid, I will do that to you at any given day. So my mom played a really big role in our entire journey, and my journey of becoming started as autistic. It's now finally proud. Okay, they've got it. Everyone's telling I'm getting all the congratulatory messages from relatives. So
Yeah, that dono behne CA ban gayi. Like,
so that is what.
हाँ,
That was concept of gratification that I think both of us were able to get, seeing like my both of our parents finally be like, okay, they have a sense of satisfaction that okay, it's been done. And when my exam got over and my result happened, it's like, okay, I can like finally, breathe after
yeah.
so many
So it's like
years.
her exam also, no? Like you writing, it's a sense, it's a milestone for her. You doing your CA is, she sees her success in that. Okay,
This year,
it's
this was like me being in a big four, there used to be odd times when I used to come at home. And she was okay with that. Like, as long as I told her that, okay, I'm at client place and I'm leaving at this particular time. And with, I told you, like, with LR and with the year end, I used to be at really odd times at client place. She used to be like, okay, fine. She never was like, oh, you're a girl, like, you have to be at, this is your curfew time. I don't care. You have to be at this point. Nothing of that sort. As long as she knew that I was safe, and I shared my location with her, told her I'll be home by this time. She was okay with me being at all hours, even in the client space or working or stuff like that. But my mom also actually really serves like a very great source of like enjoyment. She's like, okay, now you need to go and you need to party now, go hang out with your friends, go for a small trip. I was also telling about a small trip that I had just before results, and I was a little skeptical. I was like, I don't know if it's a good decision to like enjoy just before results, because in case my results were not favorable, I'd be like, see, you went for a
even in
trip.
all India, rank 7 is thinking this, that my result may not be favorable. This is
Yes,
human thought, right?
I did not want to put that pressure. So she was like, no, no, it's fine. You go. You like, 6, 7 months you were just in house, did not get out of your room and all of that. So it's fine. You go for the trip. So yeah, and even like I was off social media. I am not a very social big fanatic in general. I was off social media for almost a year, and she like comments or like reels on Instagram. She like, yeah, I found this video funny. Even if it's a funny cat video, she'll show it to me. Be like, okay, for those 30 seconds, if you're not thinking about studying, that was what she used to. She was like my social media ka gate. I remember I
Little
could say.
gateway, little. Okay,
So
okay,
yeah,
okay.
she served as a very good inspiration for
Yeah.
me. And
And as you've done your, like, articleship and working in BDO and Deloitte and now, Tata's, like, at least mainly what you say, the CA side of it, like and as being in a city like Bangalore, and then, there are a lot of corporate parties and, completion success parties and all of that. And the culture is quite different. It is very, unless and until your roots within are very strong and very deep within, it's not easy to stay grounded. When these things can like swap you away, you don't know. Like if I see things today, like at my times also, when I used to see a Deloitte party and all, it used to be like startling over there. But I think I am saved, from all these what do you say, distractions or whatever other sources of what habits or all those. But yeah, that they don't even know that the picture outside is like quite, like you see what type of corporate culture, and in terms of the mind, the fragility of the mind which is there, and the materialism which is there. So in those times, raising you up so beautifully, like it's just goes into your deep roots. Without that, surviving in this, it's like you can just blow with the wind. That type of a situation.
so the trust that my mother had on both of us, like again, like we were talking about corporate party and all of that. So she never told me that no, don't attend a corporate party. She understood the importance of connecting with people and getting like a corporate party. You get to interact with people who are not your age. Like in big four, if you get into an engagement team, mostly it's like those 10, 15 people that you interact on an everyday basis. But Deloitte being the big organization that is, audit department, it being so big, corporate party was one way that I could actually go and meet the other people. So she realized the importance of that, and there was no restriction saying that don't go to a corporate party. Go there, but know your limits is what was
Yeah.
her.
And that's what, there's no need to judge others, no need to big opinion, because we have nothing even today. Like, what you are doing is wrong, or being like a big preacher कि ये तुम क्या कर रहे हो. दुनिया किसी को सिखानी नहीं है. अपने को क्या करना है वो अगर ठीक से पता है, you keep your things sorted. I think that is more the correct approach rather than ये क्या ऐसा ये क्यों. Like, don't fall. People will not be exposed to that. It is to be taken in the right spirit. What part out of it you need to take, and so I think, like, as I said, I'm a very old school of thought, like so because of that, I'm so happy for that, and I know you will always continue on the same path also, and you're going to work on your basic culinary skills also. No, never mind. Not that I'm a great cook, I just can satiate hunger, I cannot satiate taste. So
cooking is like a basic life skill. Like, for example, if I'm out there alone, I will not starve myself because I can cook something. But if, for example, someone tells me that, okay, I'm coming to your home and prepare like a 5-course meal for me,
even I can't do it.
I will eat you at a restaurant, that is okay. But me preparing, no.
Yeah. So that is what you learn. But anything which you learn, it's like, they always say that a woman is an Ashtabhuja. Like, you have to, if we don't follow our rituals, our festivals, even it won't be carried. Like, if you look at everything in a very practical manner, oh, what is the science behind this? Oh, I listen until I don't know the reason I don't do this. No, aisa nahi karna hai. There's a reason, like, behind every festival. There's a reason why you cook a particular dish at that particular time. There are some vibes in the temple, like at least I think, that could be as a teacher, additional as a, like, keep that with you, like carry that legacy and everything. Be more, it's nothing like, even I'm having a career, it's not that, I've been teaching, and even I have a family, everything. But yeah, like, don't go overboard with like only career. No, at the end, even this like, I think like Sudha Murthy could be the greatest of all examples, for all of this. So you can always think in terms of contribution towards society at such an early age because of the opportunities which are there. You can think about your community, you can think about fellow CA students. So yeah, I just have lots and lots of blessings and good wishes, for both of you.
Thank you.
And so I always ask this as a last question. So you should be happy, like she's now coming to the final question, that anything, like, had you not scored that rank, or, I would not have even known that you have studied audit from me as such, or, you've got like anything. That's the reason we are interacting today. Otherwise, like, it's like, I know Sachin Tendulkar, but certainly he doesn't know me. Like, like, you know me as your teacher, but I would not have known about you. So considering that, like, if you want to ask me any question about anything about me, I will be more than willing to answer that. Both of you, anything.
So before asking question, I just like have to. We should have told this initially, but so I was supposed to give this interview long back, I think on Jan, somewhere in the first week of Jan, but I had surgery done and I was supposed to be on rest, not have screen time and all of that. And ma'am was kind enough. She happened to be in Bangalore because Rishabh was in Bangalore. And so she had come to Bangalore. And then she was like, okay, if you cannot come, then I'll come. And when ma'am told that first time, I was like, what? Like, Aarti ma'am is going to come home. Like, for both of us, it's like a celebrity coming home. Like, I think that is very evident also that when she came, I was a little over and I was like, okay, I don't know how to talk to her because recording classes and all that rapport we had, but like meeting her, that is she coming to my home was a whole other ball game. I was like, how do I approach her? How do I tell her that, for me, it is basically a celebrity itself that had come home and everyone was so excited. Both of us were excited. My mom was so excited. So yeah, so that was really kind of ma'am to come and, like personally wish me. So that was really sweet. And thank you to you, ma'am. I don't think we thank you enough for that day, but
No,
really
but it
grateful
was
that
just my pleasure. I happened to be, and because you had a medical reason, and I was like, no, I want to meet you because I'm coming. I was like, oh yeah, and it was a very welcoming atmosphere at your place. You know, the soft idlis with the ghee and the laddu. I skipped lunch that day, by the way, because it was more than lunch of what I had at your place. Yes, yes. So, yeah. Anything that you would like to ask? Like, if you would.
one question. So, like, as much as we know about teaching has,
Hmm.
yeah, as much as we know about you, teaching has been your passion. And that's why, like, I think, like, immediately after your articleship, once you qualified, you
Yeah.
started in that
Since September
direction.
2009, I am teaching now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's more than my, before even I got to know that CA exists. So,
Yeah.
my one question, just to understand you a little better. So that's one question that I just wanted to ask. Like I see Aarti ma'am as like a teacher, as a guru, and if if not like I'm not telling it. Okay, CA so you are, but you could have like done probably if not teaching, maybe you would have practiced, or if not a CA, like if CA did not exist at all, then like what would you do? Because I have a guess, but once you tell, maybe I'll give you the guess later on.
Okay. So, had it not been for CA, then I think the first thought which is coming to my mind is that I would have been a housewife with a boutique. Like, selling.
I guess.
Yeah, so
So that was in fact actually my guess as, that you would probably own a boutique in like something in the fashion line of telling people how to dress up, how to show up, personality development, something on those lines.
okay. So see, you know your teacher quite well. So because actually, as a surprise, like when in my 10th standard I had got 87%, and with 87 I was first in my school. Today 87 would be like somewhere I don't know, not even counted. And then my brother used to be like, oh, she's got 87, she's first in school, she should do doctor or something. But I was like, no doctor, nothing. I don't want science, I want commerce. And then commerce, I wanted to do fashion designing, NIFD, from all of that. So 11th, 12th, I did my commerce from Symbiosis College in Pune. And then first year, I completed my jewelry designing also till then. And then I pursued fashion designing. And then we had to get those sewing machine and 13 meters of cloth and everything. And I used to cry like big, big tears. Like, it was just till the time I did not pursue it, it looked very appealable to me. Once I started with it, I was in tears. Like it was just not working out. Then, because if I share this small story with you, then I happened to do this young adult course of Art of Living. And I happened to visit Bangalore again, Sri Sri, that Vishalakshi Mandap and Sri Sri Ravi Shankar and so. And that time some thought was going on in my mind that I should do CA or IAS. So I wrote some letter to Guruji and something. And then Vishalakshi Mandap, the satsang got over. And I don't know how I managed to reach right in front of Guruji's car. And then I just looked into his eyes and I said, Guruji, should I do CA or IAS? And he just looked at me. I still remember the kajal, the kohl in his eyes. And he said nothing and he sat in the car. I cried a lot in that temple, Vishalakshi Mandap. My teacher was just singing bhajan sitting next to me. And then I came back to Pune. After I came back to Pune, my mom told me that my tuition teacher, who has been the mentor, like how to study, she has taught me, and what to study, CA has given me. So, my mother said that tuition teacher, Khandagli Miss, she's very annoyed with you. She's told you to call. So then that time I went to a PCO, put 1 rupee coin, and I called teacher. And she's like, Aarti, what are you doing with your life? I thought you'll do something great and all that, but this is not working. So I want you to take up some CS degree, something like that. So then I said, yes, teacher, like, 18, 19-year-old. And then when I was doing my Art of Living course, that time there was a girl with me, Lekha, who told me कि अभी ये कोर्स खत्म हो गया, फिर मेरा जावरेज क्लास में CA का क्लास स्टार्ट होने वाला है, तो अब मैं बहुत बिजी हो जाऊंगी वगैरह. So the moment I finished teacher's phone call, I called Lekha and said, Lekha, वो तुमने बताया था तुम्हें वो class करना है तो मुझे भी आना है. So I took my mother over there. That was the first day of the class. Zavare sir was about to reach to the classroom, and me and my mom, we met him over there. And he said, yeah, CA karna is pay the fees and she can take the admission, join the classes. My mother went to the bank, broke the FD, paid the fees, and I became a chartered accountant. That's the beginning and end of my journey. P1 first attempt, P2 first attempt, CA final, both groups. I scored an All India rank 24 also. But this is what even happened to me. So I was like they say, a Sachin Tendulkar cannot sing like Lata Mangeshkar, that type. So an Aarti Lahoti doing fashion designing can be a vocation for her. But, it didn't. I was in the wrong. My skill set, it was a big mismatch of what was happening. And then I got my articleship in Deloitte. I found my life partner over there. And then after that, I am teaching. So it's all working out well. So that's why in my second year, I did my P1, that was foundation, and then Deloitte 3 years. I did intern and then 3 years of articleship and so. So I think your small answer, I've answered it quite elaborately. Yeah.
Both of us weren't aware of the story at all. I thought you were also probably either one of us who from day one wanted to do CA.
Nobody in my family knew about CA. Nobody as such knew also. I don't know from where I was going into those areas and commerce, and I saw that CA, IAS, and that thought came to my mind. It's there is some higher energy which is guiding me, which is taking me on the right path. Guru is, though I myself, I'm a guru right now, but I still have a lot of reverence for my gurus because they have made me, what I am today. And obviously my mom and my tuition teacher being the biggest, everything for me. And now my son is in 9th standard, so now I am a mother. So now I'm a mother since 14, 15 years now. But now I understand that, being a parent and being a mother, what happiness you get from your child's success, what it feels like when your child doesn't listen to you. And, when they see those YouTube shorts and you are like, please study, don't study last minute. It's like you grow a child, you also grow a parent within you. It's a huge task of patience, but it's lovely. There's this movie, English Winglish Sri Devi movie, in which in the end, in the red sari, she says those dialogue, that family, somebody is not judgmental, have an own small family in this big world. So I'm very much that filmy types.
Yes, filmy we can get from, I think, from classes and all, we understood that ma'am is pretty filmy.
Filmy, I'll give on full all जब भी met. Example, Kareena Kapoor says, मुझे आज तक समझ में नहीं आया ये हिल और माउंटेन में क्या फर्क होता है. मुझे ना बचपन से ही शादी करने का बड़ा शौक है. This जब भी met in English is I don't know, I just love these two movies. So that's about me. I want to teach more and more students. Yeah, it will make me number one. Financially, I will gain. Though now finance part is once you earn the first 1 crore of your life, it feels like money. Yeah, you feel like you're the power. Then after that, it's more of non-monetary goals also. I want to reach to more students. That is and then thanks to you students that you're coming up with these ranks and I'm taking your interviews. To be very honest, and an open platform, it's increasing my YouTube channel views and subscribers. So bhai, तुम ही अब मेरा सहारा बन रहे हो.
But one thing I would like to tell everyone is Aarti ma'am has visited almost 23 countries.
22 countries. Yeah, 20.
that is, I think, my inspiration. That's one next goal that I need to travel a lot.
And, so I was by the time I become 40, I need to visit 20 countries. But by 39 only, I finished 22 countries. And then on an indulgence level, I have purchased a Louis Vuitton bag, a Burberry, a Gucci. But Even though if I carry a 500 rupees bag, I'm happy. Even though if I have a fast track watch or a Longines or a Tissot watch, I don't do it for show off. It's just I like it, and because I can afford it, obviously, right? So yeah, I visited 22 countries. I like think someday I'll go to Switzerland and see the Alps and take my online audit classes from there.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
hopefully.
Hmm?
Yeah, I think hopefully that happens for you, that you
Yeah,
visit
hopefully.
Switzerland.
So that Switzerland and Paris has been two amazing countries. And then US is, and I visited the States also and Canada. So United States is a consumerism is one word in which I can define everything grand and big over there. So yeah, the more you travel, you become wiser. And then I like that saying, where they say you're not a frog in a pond. कि मेंढक का कुआं नहीं बनते हो. So when you travel the world, like in India also, I have traveled extensively, like Chennai, Hyderabad, and all for my classes. Bangalore, I've been so many times. So it has evolved me as a personality also. So I think rather than two, we've had three interviews covered today. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, this seems like a podcast now.
Podcast, exactly. Yeah. So podcasting career, maybe next in line for me. So wonderful, right? So it's been pleasure to talk to both of you. You've been so patient, so kind, so good. I think that more and more students listen to you. They take inspiration for you, and they, put in questions into your LinkedIn and into your Insta. They can capture you, connect with you from any place, and I'm sure you will, provide them the right guidance, because right guidance is a very important thing. So that is what is your social social responsibility, CSR, like which you need to do for the students who are writing their exams, right? So with that, we'll bring this particular interview to an end, and wishing you a lovely future ahead. Thank you so much.